Welcome to the Launch Masterclass. This is lesson 2. This is such a crazy experience for me to be speaking to thousands of you, and yet I'm just sitting here or standing here in my secret headquarters. So we're going to get going in just a second. Just a few announcements here before we get going. So just so I can remember, I've got some notes here. So first of all, scroll down and leave a comment. Tell me where you're from down in the comment section. I love to hear where you're from. And this is the funny thing, is normally when I'm presenting, when I do my live event, we've got 800, 1,000, 1,200 people there, but right here, it's just me and the camera, and another camera, and another camera, and I got 4 team members over here, but it's pretty quiet here, so I'm used to feeding off that energy, so I really need you to give me the energy in those comment sections. I'm going to be watching the comments as we go through here, so just scroll down, tell me where you're calling in from, and by the way, thank you for everyone who's fighting time zone issues. The reality is we have people calling in or dialing in or viewing from all over the world, and there is no great time. This is 2 p.m. my local time, it's 4 p.m. Eastern time, but I know it's getting pretty darn late in the UK and in Europe, and it's super, super early in Australia and New Zealand, and there's a lot of time zones where it's right in the middle of the night, so thank you for sticking with me live. I super appreciate that. So another thing I need to do is ask questions as we go through the broadcast, because I'm going to be getting those questions. I'll be probably answering some, depending on the whole flow of how things go. It's all live, and sometimes I get so wrapped up in the teaching, I forget to look at the questions, but I guarantee you I'll be looking at the questions when we get to the question and answer segment. So all through, be asking me questions as we move through this. Now, we are streaming this right now in the Facebook group. The Launch Masterclass Facebook group. So we're starting the broadcast there, and then we're broadcasting it on the Launch Masterclass pages, our concierge page there. Now, if you're watching in the Facebook group, we're going to stream it for you for 15 minutes. This is sort of to get you on board and get you to click over the main page. You can get the download over at the main page. You can get in the comments. I'm going to be watching those comments. My team's going to be watching those comments. The experience is way better over on the Launch Masterclass pages. So if you're in that Facebook group, we're going to stream it for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to cut over, and it's just going to be on the Launch Masterclass pages. Make sense? So if you're watching it in that Facebook group, then scroll down. Right below, there'll be a link over to the Launch Masterclass pages. By the way, if you're watching this, you're not in the Facebook group, you should join after this. Not right now, but after the broadcast, you should go watch, check out the Facebook group. We've got a lot of people there. I think we're closing at 5,000 people in that group, which is crazy. Let me see. Oh, so there is going to be a super secret segment. Super secret. It's super secret during this broadcast, and it will probably be a little later in the broadcast. Those of you, we had a bunch of people see the super secret segment in the first lesson, and they were pretty stoked on it. It was short. It was very, very short, but it was hard. It's hard hitting. It was packed. There was a lot in it. So any of you watching, if you saw that super secret segment, don't tell people what was in it, but go down in the comments and tell them what you thought of it. Was it worth it? Was it worth sticking around? So let me just make sure I've got all my questions, all my things to mention. I do. So we're about to get started. So buckle your seatbelts, get ready to take lots of notes. We're about to get rolling. So how do you take what you love to do, your passion, your profession, even your hobby, and turn it into an online business that makes you a great income, create a real impact in the world, and gives you freedom, real freedom, freedom to work when you want, how much you want, and work anywhere you want in the world? A business that creates income for you 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. How do you create a business like that? Or if you've already got an online business, how do you grow that business fast? The goal of this masterclass is to show you the things you need to know to launch a 6-figure or even 7-figure business online, and create a business where you have a great lifestyle, make a positive impact in the world, and let you do it without being hypey or slimy or scammy. And yes, you really can do it in a way so that your mom and your friends will be proud of you. It might sound like a dream, but I know it's possible because I started with nothing back in 1996. I had no experience, no knowledge, and I built a business that's given me a great income, an amazing lifestyle, and I've helped thousands of clients from around the world. And more important than my success is my students' success. I've helped them launch and grow their businesses in hundreds of different markets and niches with all kinds of products and services and in dozens of countries and languages. Welcome to the Launch Masterclass. And whether you've got an online course, an online business, a product, a service, or a book to launch, this is the place to get your launch plan. Welcome to lesson 2 of the Launch Masterclass. This is all about your launch path. It's about finding the right launch for you. So I am super excited. Even though it's just me here in my secret headquarters surrounded by cameras and a little team, I don't have thousands of people in front of me, but I know I've got thousands of people watching. So I'm just blessed. I'm just blessed to be able to make this impact in the world and be able to live where I want. It's just crazy. So some crazy stats. In lesson one, we had viewers tune in on that day of lesson 1 from 169 countries. 169 countries. When I started out this business, I was a stay-at-home dad. I started the business in the baby's, moving the baby's changing table aside with my computer there, and now I'm reaching 169 countries with a live broadcast. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. We had 30,431 people register already for this Launch Masterclass. Absolutely ridiculous. And I'll tell you why. I mean, at the end of the day, I'll talk about this more later on, but I'm about making an impact. And I haven't always been that way because when I started my business, it was about, our family was desperate. I needed to make some money. It was desperate times. I was a stay-at-home dad. My wife was supporting the family. And it was just about hopefully making some money. But after a while, for me, it became about making an impact and helping entrepreneurs. Because I mentioned this in the first lesson, entrepreneurs, I think are the future of humanity. They're the ones that are moving us forward, that are creating real progress. So to be able to reach 169 countries and 30,000 people already. In fact, just a few seconds ago, right before we started the broadcast, we already had 301 comments for this lesson already in the first few minutes. And we got callers. Here we go. So a little orientation. Right here, I've got some notes just to keep me on track. So this doesn't last 6 or 8 hours because I can talk about this stuff forever. Right down here, I can see your comments and notes coming in. So I'm going to be watching. If you see me looking off camera, looking down there, I'm looking at your comments. If you see me over here, I'm just trying to stay on track. We have people. So here's some of the ones calling in. Iris from the Netherlands, Pranik from India, Katja from Slovenia, Nils from Norway, who's ready for lesson 2, Leonardo from Brazil, Luis from Canada, Helen from England, Yvonne from Washington, DC or Washington State, I'm not sure, Jim from California, Anelli from Swaziland, he, she from Yardley. So, okay, I didn't know Yardley was, is that a country? That's the thing. It's like, when I saw 169 countries, what was the first thing that popped into my head? It's like, well, how many countries are there? And I thought it might actually be fun to just list the countries that we don't have. But I came up with the idea a little bit too late. And trivia question, how many countries are there? Well, it depends who's counting, anywhere from 185, or FIFA's counting, it's 211 or something like that. But we got most of the countries here. It's absolutely ridiculous. So we have Michael from Australia, Robert from Florida, Bill from Boston, Tom from Vancouver, Jurgen, thanks team, from Germany, AJ from Tennessee, Janie from South Africa, Michelle from Australia, Rita from California, Moffat from Zimbabwe, Jorge from Bolivia, Wendy from Canada, Ula from Norway, Andrew from Arizona. I have not seen Colorado. Where's Colorado? Stacy from New Jersey, Suzette from South Africa, and Jerry from Ohio. The reason I'm teasing about Colorado is that's where I'm from. I'm from Colorado. So yes, we are ready to go. And so I put this up here as a reminder, not for you, but for me. It's a reminder for me to prompt you for questions as we go through this. And you're actually going to see that. And as I flip through there, you're going to see a lot of, I'll either write down questions or I'll put a question mark. And that's just to remind me, to remind you to ask questions, because I'm going to be answering questions, probably as we go through the broadcast, this initial part. But when we get into the Q&A, I'll be answering a lot of questions. So ask your questions. We're going to be collecting them. My team's going to be collecting them. I'm going to be collecting them and answering your questions in that segment. The way this is going to break out, there's 3 segments. There's a teaching segment where I go through your launch path, the 3 primary types of launches. And then there's this, we'll have a case study segment, and then we'll have a Q&A segment. We're going to go probably 2.5 to 3 hours today. So it's a big deal. So I put this book here as another reminder. See, it's all enabling me so I don't forget too many things. But this book, I can't really show it to you, but this book and this notebook, the reason I can't show it to you is this is my life. This is my life these days. Is I get to hear these amazing stories of people that have done launches and have had huge success and been out there and changing the world. So this person that put this book together has a hobby site. And the reason I can't tell you who it is or what the site is, what the niche is I just got this in the mail. And I haven't got permission to tell his story yet. But he has a hobby site. The hobby site, he was making a nice income by putting out ebooks, but it wasn't really progressing, and he was starting to overload his people. Like, they had too many ebooks, and they didn't need to get any more ebooks from him. And so he put together a course, an online course, and did a launch, and did, from his hobby site, $1 million in the first year since he started using PLF. So I just heard I heard about a physical therapist who had a nice social media following, but she was a physical therapist, had no online business, just had a lot of people following her on Instagram. Great physical therapist, nice physical therapy practice, but not really able to leverage her time. And so she had this great Insta following, but it wasn't doing her any good. Likes on Insta don't do you too much. But she used Instagram to basically do a launch. And she did a completely social-based launch, drove people to an email list, did a launch, created an information product, and did around $100,000, which is like, in just a few weeks' time, which is way beyond what you could ever, what she had ever made as like a physical therapist. I get to hear these stories all the time. It's absolutely amazing for me. So before we get much further, we have one brand. So those of you who watched lesson 1, in its entirety, all the way through, you saw we had a little episode with a squirrel. And so the way this is set up is, this might look all fancy here, but right over here, I got this big French door with these beautiful windows that look out on the mountains. And the door's, 4 pieces away from me. And there's a squirrel playing through the whole broadcast. There's a squirrel playing around. It's actually a chipmunk playing around right out there. And it's just like, that's the joke for us in the entrepreneurial world is there's, squirrel, it's so easy to get distracted. So what we have done here is we have actually set up a squirrel cam. So if the squirrel comes back today, it actually came back yesterday when we were doing a practice session for lesson 2. If the squirrel comes back today, we have squirrel cam to catch him live. In fact, you want to switch over so they can see what the squirrel cam looks like? So that's the view. There is no squirrel over there yet, but that is a squirrel cam. You want to pop over to squirrel cam one more time just so they can get. So if all of a sudden you see squirrel cam, well, hopefully there'll be a squirrel when we switch over to squirrel cam. There isn't one yet, but we're ready if it comes back. Okay, so you're watching this. Maybe you just came in on lesson 2. You didn't see lesson 1 yet. We've got a replay for you. Just a little introduction. I'm Jeff Walker. I've been in business, 100% business, online business since 1996. Started with the most humble beginnings. I was a stay-at-home dad. My wife was a supportive family. Desperate to make some money. Gradually figured this marketing thing out. Got pretty darn good at it. Started teaching people how to launch. And a few clients and coaches in 2000. Or I coached a few people in 2003. Then in 2005, I released my first course, the Product Launch Formula. That's gone on to literally change marketing history, change online business history. I've sold tens of millions of dollars with my products, but the important thing is my clients have sold many, many hundreds of millions of dollars using what I'm going to teach you here. So let me see where I'm at. So question. So we're all about launching. I am about launching. I think there's magic in a launch. There's magic in the beginning. You ever think about how important first impressions are? And they are super important. Well, that's what a launch is. It's your first impression out into the market. It's how people learn about it. It's how you get instant momentum. If you look at the way Apple does it, they just release new iPhones. Well, they had people talking about those iPhones for months before they were released. Just months and months. Sometimes there's these magic spy photos that come out. There's articles about it. There's people guessing what's happening. Well, that doesn't happen by accident. Apple sort of sneaks all that out, and they get the excitement and anticipation going before it's even released. Hollywood does the same thing with their movies. It's not an accident that you're talking about a movie weeks, often months before it comes out. The next Star Wars movie comes out, you know about a year in advance, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. They have trailer. They have actors out talking on the TV shows, doing podcasts. They have a pre-launch. And what I'm going to teach you here is basically how to take that and bring it down to us, the little guys, and how we can do it so that when we release something, people are super excited about what we've got. So what I'm going to teach you here is the core of my product launch formula. So just a disclaimer here. When I say product launch formula, that's a methodology. It's a formula for launching your online course, your product, your book, your art, your service, your software. It's amazing what people have used this for. So the product launch formula is this methodology. When I say product launch formula coaching program, which I'll say quite a bit less, when I say that, Product Launch Formula Coaching Program, that's my high-end coaching program. And full disclosure, at the end of this masterclass, I'm going to be opening enrollment for the Product Launch Formula Coaching Program. The other sort of caveat, the other disclaimer is that I'm going to go through a lot of this quick. There's a lot of material. I'm going to cover as much as I can. This entire masterclass is going to be 10 hours or so, and I'm going to crank through it. There are times where I'm going to move really fast. However, just because I'm moving fast, the thing is there is hard work involved. Sometimes when I'm flying through it and showing these examples, it looks amazing and it is amazing, but there is hard work involved. I don't want to ever diminish that. So, if you're going to build a business, if you're going to release your product, if you're going to have great success, if you're going to have financial success and build this amazing lifestyle, hopefully make an income or make an impact on people, there's work involved. So I'm sure I've just lost a bunch of people, but if you're still here and you're with me and you're willing and you're ready to put in the work, then why don't you scroll down in the comments and say, I'm ready. Say, I'm ready down there. Bring some energy here. I'm just looking down at these comments. It's awesome. Okay, so I want to go for a quick review here from lesson one. So let's start with super quick. And if you haven't seen the replay, if you weren't on lesson one, you're like, what is that hot mess? Yeah, there is a lot there. So I'm not going to go over it all, but we covered three primary things. This is the sideways sales letter. So this is the core methodology behind these launches, behind product launch formula. And what it is three pieces of pre-launch content that lead into a sales letter or a sales video. So so you've seen this. You have seen this. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other leaders. If you're on anyone's email list or following anyone in the whole online business education market, in the entrepreneurial market, in the marketing, the online marketing world, you see them doing this all the time. They release a video, a second video a few days later, a third video a few days later, and then a sales video. Now, first of all, they're all doing it because they either learned it from me or they learned it from someone who learned it from me. I actually invented this. This actually did start somewhere. It started with me back in 1996, gradually figuring this out. But so you have seen it. And if you're in the guitar market, if you're in the meditation market, if you're in the tapping market, if you're in the golf market, if you're in the tennis market, if you're in you name it, the crochet market, you have seen this because it's a cross market. If you're in Brazil, you've seen this. If you're in the UK or Australia or Germany, you've seen this. It's crazy that I released this, and I've been teaching it now since 2005, and it's become everywhere, but this is the way it works. Your first video is about the opportunity for people to change, to have a better life, to create positive change, to have better relationships, to have better health, to make more money. So that's what it's about, the opportunity. The second one is about the transformation, how their life is going to transform. I'm going to super quick. Our first lesson was about 3 hours long through all of this stuff. So second one, transformation. Third one is ownership, where they get the feeling of what it's like to actually own the product. So that's the way it works. It's about 10 days in pre-launch. It's 5 to 7 days in the open cart. There's also this thing called the PS path, and there are also these mental triggers or event circles. Go, after this is over, watch the replay from lesson one, and you're going to see all of it. Okay, so we're getting a lot of people that said they're ready. Angela, Jillian, Madeline, as long as I can stay awake. Well, I'm going to do my best to keep you awake, and maybe we can get some visit from the squirrels. You just never know. Yes, awesome. Okay, so, like I said, there's hard work involved. There is hard work involved. So if there's hard work, then why do you go through that hard work? Well, I love, these are two very interesting words, freedom and hope. Freedom and hope. And you know what? Some of you will know the answer to this if you saw lesson one, but one of these words I'm a fan of, and one of these words I'm not so much of a fan of. And if you want to guess which is my favorite word up here of these two words, which word do I like and which word don't I like? Go ahead down in the comments and go ahead and guess. And really, we're going to make this, it's freedom versus hope. Okay, so this is the deal, is I see a lot of people, instead of putting together a serious launch, they depend on hope marketing. Hope marketing is where you create something and you put it out there and you hope people find it. There's that movie Field of Dreams, there's a famous line, build it and they will come. Build it and they will come. That might work if you're building baseball fields, but it doesn't work in business. If you build it and then just put it out there and hope it works out, they won't come. They're not going to find you. Your business will wither away. It'll be a slow death spiral. If you look at the percentages of number of businesses that go out of business in the first year, the first 5 years, it's crazy. You need momentum. You need cash flow when you start out. So hope is a great word if you're shipwrecked at sea. Hope is like if you have a loved one who's sick or injured. Hope is great. It can keep you alive at times, but it doesn't keep you alive in business. Hope is just, it's not a good word for business. Freedom, on the other hand, is what we're all about. Is after all these years of teaching tens of thousands. In fact, this Launch Masterclass is the latest evolution of my free product launch training, but I've been doing that since 2005, and I've had almost 1 million people go through my free launch training. Now, this Launch Masterclass is a massive upgrade over prior years, but almost 1 million people. The thing I know is that for most people watching, freedom is the key. Freedom is what you're here for. Freedom is why you want to have this business. So the thing is there's many levels of freedom. So this is the way it went for me. And I think this holds for a lot of people. The first freedom I was after was financial freedom. The freedom to have an income. I mean, I just wanted to make $10,000 to help support my family when I was starting out. That was my big, huge dream, was $10,000. And then my ultimate dream, when I sat down to write my goals, this is a great exercise. Sit down when you're starting out, or even starting a new project, write your ultimate goals. And my ultimate goal was $100,000 a year. That was the biggest, projecting 30 years out, the biggest I could think. I just wanted to make money because I wanted to support my family. I wanted my wife to be able to come home and be home with the kids and help me with the business. So it was all about money at first. And then after I started making income, and I made that $10,000 in my first year, struggled and fought and got there. And then the next year, it was like $70,000. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And at that point, as I started to make more money, I started to focus on time. I wanted time freedom. I wanted the freedom to be able to work when I wanted and how much I wanted. And I wanted to have leverage. I wanted to not have my income tied to working more hours. And then, after I got time freedom, and I did, then it was about freedom of place. It was like where I wanted to live, where I wanted to work. And that's when my wife came home. She left her corporate job. She came home. She was taking care of the kids, helping take care of the kids. Well, she was taking care of the kids, helping me with my business. And we were growing this business together. And that's when we said, boy, we've always wanted to live out in the mountains in Colorado. And we moved out to Durango out here. It's just beautiful here. It's not for everyone, but this is where I want to live. I live here because I can live anywhere I get an online connection. So after place, then it often becomes who you're going to work with. Are you going to work with a grumpy boss? Are you going to work with lousy coworkers? Or are you going to work with the people that you want to work with? So these are the freedoms that an online business gives you. And then finally, the ultimate freedom, for me at least, not for everyone, is the freedom of purpose. To make the impact that you want to make. To do the work that you're put on earth to do. For me, it's helping entrepreneurs. It wasn't always that way. My first business was about the stock market. And that was great, and I was interested in the stock market, and it was cool and everything. But after a while, I'm like, it's not that into the market, but I'm into entrepreneurs. I love entrepreneurs. I love helping them. I love helping them create. And it's interesting. So I look at this, and it's almost like, you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's almost like, I think it's a natural progression. Not everyone follows the same progression, but it's a natural progression that this kind of business allows. I'm here talking to entrepreneurs, and it's amazing. But you might be into helping people with their needle point. And what if you could be helping people on a broadcast like this, or a video like this, and making a great income, having the time freedom to be able to do what you want, and really driving your ultimate purpose. That's all amazing. Now, on the other side, hope. I've been thinking about this quite a bit. I've been thinking about hope marketing quite a bit. It's like I play tennis. I'm a tennis player. And you'll be out there playing tennis, and you're hitting the shots, boom, boom, boom. And then your opponent will hit a shot, and it's coming towards the line. And it's a long run for it. And you're not sure if it's in or out, so you figure you'll just watch it and hope it goes out. That's hope tennis. Hope tennis doesn't work so well either, just like hope business. Just not a winning strategy. So when I think about what drives people to depend on hope, Instead of really putting together a launch, what drives, why do people sort of pull back and not really put their work out there, not really design their success, not really engineer their success, not really plan out their launch and plan their success? And one of the things I think that hope drives is fear, or that drive hope, I guess, is you're scared to fail. You're scared to put yourself out there. But the reality is if you don't put yourself out there, nothing is going to change. Nothing's going to change. And the fear of failure, I mean, it's like failure, it's not an identity, it's an event. I certainly failed. I failed many, many, many times. And the only reason I'm here is I was like able to shrug that off. If you learn from it, it's not a failure. And then I think like one of the other ones is knowledge. People, they tend to default to hope because they don't have the knowledge. They either think they don't have the knowledge to actually create something, or they're stuck in this waiting to have enough knowledge to get started. And really, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I do this Launch Masterclass, and that's the whole reason behind my business. I have a training business, a knowledge business, a wisdom business. And then this is a big one. This, I think, holds, well, I don't know what the percentages are. Look at that, I actually spelled it right, I think. Perfectionism. People wait to get their products perfect. They keep on tweaking that website, they keep on tweaking that blog, or that podcast, or that YouTube channel, or that product, or that membership site, or that book manuscript, and they keep on tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it, and next thing you know, it's like 3 years later, and you haven't done anything. I heard Tony Robbins say that perfect is the lowest standard you can have. Because when you say, I'm going to release this when it's perfect, you're saying, I'm never going to release this. It's never going to be perfect. You can never live up to perfect. So you just say, I'm never going to try. I'm never going to try. And it's just another word for procrastination. And then, the final one, and this is not all-inclusive. There's a lot more that goes into hope marketing, but it's association. And it's the, when I started out, I didn't have any role models. I didn't have any people that were entrepreneurs. There was none of my family, none of my friends were entrepreneurs. There was no one doing online business back then in 1996. And I was in pure desperation. I was in pure desperation down here. I needed, at the bottom of the hierarchy, I needed desperation to move forward. And I was going to figure it out no matter what. I was going to figure this piece out, and I didn't care. And I am a perfectionist, but I was desperate here. And I didn't have anyone to associate with. But as soon as I started to get successful, as soon as I could, I started to find a tribe and attract a tribe. And really, that's what my business now is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about me attracting a tribe, the tribe that I want to hang out with, that can propel me further. So then, frankly, that's why one of the big upgrades we did this year for this Launch Masterclass is a Facebook group. We didn't have that in the past. Well, we created a tribe for you to associate with within this Launch Masterclass. Because when you're around people that can see the possibilities for you, they can see, like for me, my job is to see a bigger future for you than you can see for yourself. And when you associate with the right kind of people, it makes it so much easier. But if you want those people in your life, you have to go out and find them. So let's see where we're at. So, it's interesting because, like I said, when I started out, pure desperation. But as you move forward, or as I move forward, and start to have more success. It's always baby steps. It's one of my key themes, baby steps, baby steps. Just figure out what the next step is, not what the 1,000th step is, or the 100th step, or the 10th step. What's the next step? And I just get putting one foot in front of the other and gradually built that business. From my very first launch that did $1,650, from my very first email that I sent out that went out to 17 people, and gradually grew that. It's been 22 years now. And now all of a sudden, here I am in this beautiful headquarters surrounded by all this technology with this amazing team, an even much larger amazing team in the background. And it's crazy what's happened. It's crazy what's happened. But the reality is, and a lot of people look at me and say, well, Jeff, it all works for you, but you're just like some guru, you're some big name, you've got whatever, all those people, you got people from 169 countries tuning in, it works for you, but I'll tell you what, I am my own patient zero. You know that term, so who's the first person that you treat if there's a disease or something? I'm my own patient zero. Everything I'm teaching you, it's worked for me and it's worked for others, but it first worked for me. And in terms of, if you're looking at me like, if Jeff can do it, I can, how this stuff works for Jeff, but he's magical, he's some magical marketing entrepreneurial being, you couldn't be further from the truth. You couldn't be. Because the truth is that I've been knocked down over and over. So in 2005, I got a phone call that would change everything in my business, and really in my life. It was one of those calls you never want to get. When I picked up the phone, I had a nice business. I'd come a long way in a few short years. When I started my business, I was a stay-at-home dad taking care of my 2 small children, and other than my family, I had nothing going for me. I hadn't made a single dollar in years. My wife was supporting the family by working long hours in the corporate world. I started my business out of pure desperation. We were really struggling financially, just trying to keep our heads above water. And I needed to relieve some of the pressure off my wife Mary. She was the only breadwinner for our family, and she just wanted more time with our children. At the start of that business, I discovered, almost by accident, a new way to market and sell online. Over the years, that new way of selling would eventually become my product launch formula. In any case, within a few years, Mary was able to leave her job and be home with me and the kids and help me in my business. That business was all about the stock market. I had a partner in that business, and we published a newsletter every business day of the year. We basically told people what we thought was going to happen in the stock market, and we were good at it. We had subscribers that stuck with us year after year. It was a great business, and eventually I was able to move my family to our dream hometown out in the mountains of Colorado. I had a lot of flexibility to be with my family and do all the outdoor things that I love to do. I had a great income that was behind anything I'd ever dreamed of, and we had great clients. Life was really good. And then came that fateful phone call on a beautiful spring day. I remember it was a Friday afternoon, and it was almost time to kick back and relax with the family for the weekend. The call was from my business partner, and it only lasted a few minutes. I remember walking over to pick up that phone, and when I hung up just 5 minutes later, my business and my income was basically gone. It was almost surreal. My partner decided to go in a different direction, as he said. He had secretly started a competing business, and he already started taking all of our hard-won clients to his new business. In a few minutes on that phone call, I just lost my livelihood, and my immediate thought was my family. And how was I going to support them? Now, I can't lie. In addition to the financial hardship, this wasn't an easy thing to take emotionally. I spent more than 8 years building up that business, and to have it all taken away, that, well, just wasn't easy. But this is the thing, and maybe you've had a moment like this in your life. I knew it was time to move on. I knew I had a bigger future in front of me. This is going to be my time to start over, my time to build something great. And I also knew that I had a secret weapon. At the same time that my emotions were just churning away, I knew that I had a formula to start over. I could rebuild, and I could do it quickly. And I could even do it better than I had the first time around. It was almost like I had this unfair advantage. I knew exactly how to start. Since I was going into a new market with a new business, I didn't have a product or a list, I would just see a bunch. I figured this way I'd bring in some money quickly, which was awesome since I just lost my income. And I'd get paid before I even created the product. But there's another really cool benefit. You see, I was creating a training product in a new market. I had a lot of knowledge and skill in that new market, but I didn't have any experience teaching in that market. But the way the seed launch is structured, it almost guarantees that you're going to create a great product and get it done quickly. So it was about a month later that I started my seed launch for my new business. Of course, I know all about humble beginnings, and this was another one for me. Since I was brand new in this market and I didn't start with a list, well, I only made 6 sales in the seed launch. Now I have to admit, I had hoped for more sales, but I knew the seed launch isn't about quantity. It's about getting that initial momentum, getting your first sales and building your product. And I knew that 6 clients was all I needed to get started. It was enough to begin building, enough to create a product. So I delivered a classic seed launch product. It was a series of health seminars. I split my content into 5 sections, and I delivered on those 5 calls. I made sure it was super interactive and that I answered everyone's questions. And because it was so interactive, it helped me deliver a great product. I did some extra bonus calls because I learned long ago that over-delivering on your promises is the easiest way to create raving fans. You just go an extra step or 2 and your clients will love you. In any case, I worked really hard to make my clients happy and successful. And because they're so successful, I ended up getting some great case studies and testimonials. And here's the important thing. In doing those calls and teaching those first clients, I started to learn true mastery of the teaching of my topic. That made my product amazing from the start. You know, over the years, I've met a lot of people that worry about creating a perfect product. And that's a really bad thing because no one will ever create the perfect product. And really, that pursuit of perfection, well, ends up being nothing more than an avoidance tool, a bad excuse for never releasing your product. The thing is, no matter how good you are at something, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to automatically be a great teacher. But because the seed launch process is so interactive, it makes creating a great product almost inevitable. The product is tuned to what your clients want and need. The product won't be perfect, but it's going to be great, and it'll be done. Okay, so I was off to a nice start, but 6 sales, well, it wasn't going to pay the bills for very long, and it certainly wasn't much of a business yet, so it's time to move on to my next launch. After all, I had a family to support. Now, the standard product launch formula path is going from seed launch to an internal launch and then a joint venture launch. But you know how they say sometimes rules are made to be broken, and that's what I did in this case. I went straight from my seed launch to a JV launch. I got to a few seminars in my new market niche, and I made a bunch of friends at those seminars. A few of those friends had significant businesses with strong email lists. And when I asked them to promote my launch, they agreed. I put together a great sideways sales letter, and then I counted down to launch day. It was October 21st, 2005, when I pushed that send button on my launch. Now, I'll admit that I was really nervous. This was the start of a new business. It's been 7 months since that phone call from my ex-partner that ended my first business, and since I lost my income. I put in a lot of work in starting over. I was in a new market with a new product, I had a new website, and I had these new JV partners. Well, I didn't have to wait long. The orders started coming in almost immediately. Within the first 15 minutes, I had over $50,000 in sales. And they didn't stop there. In less than a week, that launch brought in $600,000 in sales. Within a few months after the launch, my revenue was over $1 million. In my first business, it took me 6 long years to get to $1 million in revenue. The second time around, with the right launch formula, it had taken just 6 months. Of course, not all that was mine to keep. I had commissions to pay to my partner, and some other costs, but it was still an amazing start for my new business. But really, the money I made in that launch was just a drop in the bucket compared to everything else the launch did. Because it launched the entire business for me. You see, that was the very first launch of my flagship product, the Product Launch Formula coaching program. That one joint venture launch gave me an immediate positioning as a top leader in the market. It gave me instant momentum, and it built my list from nothing to 20,000 people in just a few weeks. And it's amazing to think about it, but I've now had over 10,000 students go through my training. I've generated over $25 million in sales for Product Launch Formula. And my students, this is the important part, my students have done over $500 million in sales of their products. And this is the part I love. Their products have helped thousands of people in hundreds of markets. From learning tennis to healing brain trauma to calligraphy to raw food diets to couples therapy to reading echocardiograms. And to think all of those people that my clients have been able to help, it's just amazing. There are couples who saved their marriage because of my clients' products. There are people who didn't have heart attacks because of my clients' products. And it all started with my very modest seed launch with 6 sales. And the ripples that spread from that humble launch, it just gives me chills to think about. You know, I have some clients that have had huge results with Product Launch Formula, amazing, earth-shaking results. And I love to hear from them about their success. But I still get just as excited when I hear about the people that are doing their very first seed launch, because I know what a huge positive impact that seed launch can have on a family and on the world. So how do you do that? How do you go from 6 sales to $600,000 to millions and millions? And that's what we're going to dive into here. We've got the 3 primary types of launches. We're going to walk through which one is right for you. We've got the seed launch, the internal launch, and the JV launch. But one little bit of housekeeping before we move forward. For everyone watching in the Facebook group, in the Launch Masterclass Facebook group, we're about to kill the feed there. So head on over to the Launch Masterclass pages. Your experience is going to be way better over there. So there's a link down below the video in Facebook to click on over to the main page. So, seed launch, internal launch, JV launch. Seed launch is a launch to start. So I just want to tell you so you can sort of place where you're at. You're going to want to watch all of these because the reality is although I started with seed launch, I end up doing all of these launches. And so many of our clients do, so many of my students do. So seed launch is great if you're just starting out. If you don't have a list, especially if you don't have a product. Or if you currently have a business, but you have some product idea that you've been thinking about, but you just can't seem to get that product idea done. You can't get the creation actually done. This is a great way if you have an existing business to roll out a new product and get paid before you create it. So again, seed launch, just starting out, no list, no product. Or if you have an existing business and you have an idea that for a product you just can't seem to make it happen. Internal launch is basically a classic sideways sales ladder. So this is great if you have a product or a product that's either done and been on the market or a product that you're about to release. You have a product and you have some type of an email list. Internal launch is great for you. Then the JV launch is a more advanced strategy. This is sort of the pouring gasoline on fire. Just to give an example, if you're outside the US, pouring petrol on fire is the way to blow things up big. So for instance, when I was just doing internal launches, the biggest launch I ever did was $110,000. My first JV launch was $600,000. Now I will tell you, that sounds great, right? Everyone's like, oh, sign me up, I'll take the JV launch. Well, there's more work involved. It's a longer term strategy and it's more complicated. But the payoffs are absolutely huge. They're fantastic. So I'm going to go through these 3 launches, and so let's get right to it. Oh, look at this. If you have questions, that's my reminder. If you have questions, just put them in down below. Let's see. Here's a question from Pat. It says, does PLF work for a membership site model? I actually answered this question in a video that, if you haven't been watching the concierge page, and for the Launch Masterclass concierge page, I'm periodically updating the video there. And last night, I actually put up a video that answered this exact question. The thing is, it not only works for membership sites, Product Launch Formula does it, not only does it work for them, it's necessary for them. If you try to use a membership site with Hope marketing with a membership site, there's no future. Because a membership site, you almost always, one of the key components is community. And if you just do the old Hope marketing, you have like 10 people joining the first month, there's not going to be any community, a big ghost town. And ghost town begets ghost town. And it just looks bad, it's horrible energy, and your site will die. Plus, you'll be creating content, and you're not going to be getting paid for it until, hopefully, you hope your way to a bigger clientele. With PLF, you start off with a big following in your membership site. So you have to use PLF with a membership site. If you look at anyone who likes Stu McLaren teaches about membership sites. He is like the biggest PLF fan there is in the world. So let me just jump into the seed launch before you derail too many questions. So this is your seed launch. This is a fancy diagram. This is the fanciest I've ever gone with with the seed launch diagram. So this is your opt-in page right here. So what you do is you for a seed launch, you need to have a small list. People have done it with 50 to 100 people. I think it's better if you have 200 people on your list. Why don't you go crazy and have a goal of 300 people? Okay, just have a goal of 300 people. Now, you might just start with 0, and that's absolutely fine. That's where we all start. We all start with 0. But you have an opt-in page. On the opt-in page, you have some type of a lead magnet. The lead magnet is just something free that people get if they opt in. So you have this lead magnet, and you drive traffic there. That's a fancy word for telling people about this great lead magnet. And you can drive people from, it could be from social, it could be friends and family, it could be Instagram, Facebook, it could be paid traffic, it could be paid Facebook traffic, paid Instagram traffic. People, well, more and more, we're seeing practice from the owners are starting to do just a little bit of paid just to get that moving. It can also be you participate in forums or Facebook groups, but the reality is to get a few hundred people to come over to get your opt-in page and join your list isn't really that hard. It's just not. A lot of people have this in their head that it's just impossible. The reality is not. So people opt in, you get your, let's just say you have 300 people on your list. You do this, you can do it in a few weeks, it could take a month, it could take 2 months. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you get those people and they start following you. So once they follow you, then remember back, I showed you that sideways sales letter, the 3 pieces of pre-launch content and the sales video. With a seed launch, your offer is going to be, it's going to be for a series of trainings, a series of small group trainings, a series of small group coaching. They could be calls, they could be you could do teleseminars, you could do webinars, you could do live broadcasts like this. And the technology is simple, and it just gets more simple and more simple and more simple. Basically, if you can use a phone, then you can do a live broadcast. And so you're going to do a series of calls that teach on your topic. Now, that is a very, very powerful offer, especially like if you're, say you have some type of practice where maybe you're helping people with their money, maybe you work one-on-one, or you're helping people with their health, with their eating, and you have maybe you have a class of clientele, so you have some type of small following on social. Basically, what you do is you put out a very simple sideways sales letter. So this right here is a sideways sales letter, but it's a simplified version. There's only one piece of pre-launch content and then the sales letter. So we're going to call this PLC for pre-launch content, and this is the sales video or the sales letter. Now, we had a question come in that says, hey, I'm not a salesman, I'm not a marketer. How do I don't know how to do this stuff, I don't know how to write this stuff. But say like you're a guitar teacher, or no, let's just say you're just a really, really good guitar player, or you could be a guitar teacher that worked one-on-one with students, and you wanted to do this. What you would do, let's say you came up with this idea, you're going to teach people how to create a guitar repertoire. So a repertoire is just a series of songs that you know how to play. And you know as a guitar teacher that most people that buy guitar never, they plunk away, but they never actually learn to play a song or a series of songs. So let's say, I'm not saying this is a good marketing idea because I don't know the guitar market that well, but let's just say that you decide you create a product on how to create a 10-song guitar repertoire. And so what you could do is if you're active in some forums or on Facebook or on Instagram, and you could just say, hey, I just put together, I know a lot of people struggle with a guitar repertoire, so I put together a list of 100 great songs to have to pick from. These are 100, this is your punch list, or not even a punch list. This is 100 great songs for a guitar repertoire. You don't need to learn all 100, but these are 100. Just pick out 5 or 10 or 20 of them and create a repertoire. So just go to my, I just put this list on my page over here. Here's the link. You get a link, they come over here, and there's a PDF with 100 songs. It's just a list of 100 songs, and if they give you the email address, then they get the list, or they get the repertoire list, and they join your email list. I know there's a question in the Facebook group about email effectiveness, and the reality, it's a long story, or a long answer, I'll probably get to it later, but email is, like if you gave me a choice of having 1,000 email addresses or 100,000 Facebook followers, I would take the 1,000 email subscribers. It is so much more effective than anything out there. It has been, and it still is. And if you look at all the top people, what do? They send emails. So now you have this, you're going to use product on a guitar repertoire. Now what you do is your pre-launch content will be something like, hey, I've been teaching students one-on-one, and I've had great success helping them develop guitar repertoires, because I know a lot of people, they never actually learn how to play a song. And then you're sitting around with a bunch of people, and someone says, hey, I know you play guitar, can you play me a song? And then you just look at them like, I actually don't know how to play a song. Instead of being that person, you could just rip off 10 songs in a row if you have a guitar repertoire. And so I've been thinking about doing this training, but before you do the training, let me tell you about how to think about the repertoire. And then you would do, this could be an email, this could be a video, this could be a podcast, this could be a blog post. And it's, there's a question about, hey, I'm not a salesperson. Well, you don't have to be a salesperson. You just have to be a human being and be able to speak. That's the great thing about video. It used to be writing, people came out of writing long sales letters and stuff like that. Nowadays, it's just about communicating. And it's communicating transparently and authentically and with real care for the people you're communicating with. So it's like, a lot of people are starting with repertoire. I've helped a lot of people with repertoire. Let me tell you how to think about what a repertoire is. So that could be your first piece of pre-launch content. The great thing with seed launch is there's only one piece of pre-launch content, and then that leads into your sales video. And the sales video is basically like, hey, I've got so much people are so stoked, so interested in my last video I put out about how to think about guitar repertoire. What I decided to do is I decided to create a class. And this class is going to be, I'm just going to teach them, a very small group of students. We're going to do a series of 5 calls, do a series of 5 live broadcasts, and I'm going to walk through the repertoire. In fact, I'm going to teach you, and then I'm not a guitar teacher, so I don't know the answers, but you would take whatever your topic is, and you split it up into 5 topics, 5 subtopics. So maybe the repertoire is like, picking out the songs and learning the chord progressions and learning how to strum and sing it, the strum patterns, and learning how to sing, learn how to strum and sing at the same time. I don't know if those are the 5 because I'm not a guitar teacher, but let's just say those are the 5. And you say, I'm going to do a small group class. There's only going to be a few of us. Normally, this would cost a lot of money if we were working one-on-one and you're taking trainings with me or you have to travel to come see me, but we're going to do it all online. It's going to be awesome. You have to travel, you can do it from your home. I'm going to be teaching it in live broadcasts, and it's going to be really, really cool. We're going to have 5 lessons. In fact, we're going to do 5 lessons. I'm going to do a 6th one. It's going to be just purely Q&A, and it's going to be really cool. I'm going to give you a list of songs. We're going to help you pick out which songs. I'm going to watch you playing. We're going to be able to give you real-time feedback, and you're going to be able to learn from the other people in the class. It's going to be a very, very small class. And so that type of offer is a really powerful offer because people love coaching. And this idea of small group coaching, they love that too, because they understand that they'll still get a lot of attention, but it's inherently going to be more cost effective than one-on-one training or having to travel for one-on-one training. So your whole idea here is to get, out of these 300 people, if you can get 20 people to 30 people buying, that's awesome. And that's where you get paid. Now notice you haven't actually created the product. You haven't done the product. You haven't delivered any information. You just created this first piece of pre-launch content. And go back to watch lesson 1 and get lots more information or lots more training on pre-launch content, and then your sales message. Sales message is as simple as what I just said. It's just at the end, you say this is what it costs, and if you want to join, then push the button and pay. And so you're looking at 20 or 30 people. Now the key thing here is you've actually started, so remember this is an email list. But this right here is a special kind of email. Because basically people come here, you make the sale, and then they're on your buyer's list. they're on your customer list. And so once you get a business, this is the key piece. Write this one down. If you're not already in business online, you'll end up with what we call a prospect list. Your email list, your main list is your prospect list. So these are prospective buyers. And then you have buyers. Now in my business, we call them owners, but it's the same thing. And the big important thing here is the buyers list. A person on the buyers list is worth 15 times more than someone on the email list, just in terms of sales. That number will vary across businesses, across time, but I've been in this business 22 years, and that's the average I use whenever I'm calculating. I would rather have a 1,000-person buyer list than a 10,000-person prospect list, because that buyer's list is worth 15 times. They open your emails, they read your emails, and they buy from you. This is just conventional marketing. It's like it's easier to sell to someone a second time than the first time. So you have your buyer's list, and then we get into the real magic here. What you do is you send them to a survey. So these folks, and I'll tell you one other hint. When I did the seed launch, my very first seed launch, that was, well, the seed launch, the creative product launch formula. I had 6 people buy, but I knew I wanted more people just to create more interaction. And so what I did was I ended up copying in. I let about 25 people in for free, so I ended up with around 30 people in that group. So for me, I had 6 here, and then I ended up with 30 because I let 25 friends, not just the general public, but 25 friends and associates I let in for free just to get that critical mass. So then you send the survey and say, our first call is going to be, our first broadcast is going to be on, back to the guitar repertoire. It's going to be how to pick out the 10 songs that are going to guitar repertoire. And so this is the deal, is before I do the call, I just want to make sure that I get all of your top questions answered about picking the 10 songs in your repertoire. So please go take the survey and tell me what are your top 2 questions about picking the songs in your repertoire. So they go and they take that survey. You take the questions in that survey, and you just group them together, and what'll happen will be patterns. And you take maybe the top 10 or 12 questions, and then you just get on a call in the delivery, and you answer those questions. And you have some transitions between the answers. And you're not saying this is the answer to this, but you're just answering. That's basically your syllabus. So that's your outline for how to do the call. So if you could just, all we're talking about is a topic where you know how to talk about it. You have the information, the knowledge, the wisdom, the expertise to talk about it. And then, of course, so the first survey goes to the first broadcast. And then you do, after that one, you do another survey, and you answer those questions, and another survey. And I've only had space to write down 3, but you do this 5 times, and throw in a bonus Q&A call. And you have now done your seed launch. Now, what did you end up with? Because all of these are recorded, you end up with audio. You end up with video. You end up with, you can take those and get them transcribed. It's very inexpensive to get them transcribed. So I'm just going to write trans there. You do a Q&A section. So now you have a digital recording of the top questions. And you also end up with case studies. If you take all that together, you now have a product. You've got your first product done. And the thing is, remember, you got paid. You had 20 or 30 people pay you before you ever did any of this work. Super, super powerful. It's so powerful that I went from 6 sales. The first time I did, I think it was called the product launch workshop. I had 6 sales. And then I built that out into a product. I did this. And actually, because I'm a perfectionist, I took this and I'm remaking it. I remade it as videos and audios, completely redid it. But then when I launched that a few months later, $600,000. $600,000. But the key was I case studies. This is the most important thing. It's sort of like the way Silicon Valley releases products. They release it and they sort of figure it out along the way. This is what they call a minimum viable product. You create a minimum viable product and you create it quickly and easily for the cost of doing 5 calls. You're talking about, let's say, 5 plus a Q&A, 6 calls. Let's say each takes 90 minutes. So your 9 hours you put into this. Let's double that in prep. Let's say it's 18 hours. But 18 hours and you have a product that you can sell. A real product that you've got leverage on. And if you were a massage therapist or a welfer or a marriage counselor or you taught meditation or you taught weight loss and you've been working one-on-one with people and all of a sudden for the cost of 18 hours, which by the way you got paid for ahead of time, you now have a product, now you see the value of the seed launch. It's super powerful. And if you already have an existing business and an existing email list, but you have that one product that you've always wanted to get out, but you just can't ever seem to force yourself to sit down and create the product, well, this is how you create the product. Okay, moving on. Internal launch. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because this is basically the sideways sales letter. So what you do is this is your list. This is your opt-in page, and this is your list. And this is your traffic flows. So there's lots of different ways to drive traffic. I'm not going to teach traffic right now, but you can have organic traffic coming in, you can have social traffic, you can have paid traffic. So you can be out there creating a following in social and driving people over to the opt-in list. And it could be the same, it's just like, it works just like with the guitar example on the seed launch. There's no, that example can actually, you can keep the same example here. Say you initially did that seed launch for the guitar repertoire product. Now you've taken that and you've taken recordings and turned it into a product. Now you can keep that same opt-in, you've got the same list, driving people onto the list, but maybe you've built that list up over time. You did that seed launch and you started to build that list and maybe you've got 500 or 1,000 people. Then you drive people into the sideways sales letter. Go watch lesson 1 if you missed the sideways sales letter, and then it's the sales video. And this is a period of, let's call this 10 days, maybe 15 days total. So that's the sideways sales letter. The beautiful thing is it leads to sales. And if you have an existing business and you do this, even if you have an existing product, well, first let me tell you the other thing it leads to. It's sales and it leads to buyers. And when you increase the number of buyers, well, it just goes back to the buyer list is worth so much more than the prospect list. 15 times more. It's not an exact number, but that's 20 plus years of experience telling you that. A buyer is incredibly, incredibly valuable to you because they will buy more stuff. In fact, I've got a case study coming up that's going to show you exactly how that works. So you end up with buyers and you end up with dollars. Now, if you have an existing business and you have a new product coming out, you can see how this would work. You'd be crazy how to do this. And if you do this, it's going to be one of the best couple of weeks you've ever had. But if you have an existing product and you're like, okay, that's a great job, but I don't have a new product right now, so what do I do? Well, all you do is you take that existing product and you build a new offer around it. You bundle something with it, you add in some bonuses, you tweak it, you expand it, and then you do a launch. That's basically a relaunch of an existing product. It's super, super powerful. My goal, I like to say this, and it's just a fanciful goal, but it's actually worked out for a number of people, is if you have an existing business and you add this into the mix, then it's, my goal for you is to make as much money in this 2-week period, in this launch, as you normally do in a year. Now, I know it's insane to say that, but I have seen it happen. It absolutely has happened. It's going to be 2 of the best weeks you've ever had. Absolutely. So that's the internal launch. It's basically you're using your list to drive people through a sideways sales letter. Super, super powerful. Bread and butter. I love these kind of launches. They're super elegant because you get to control every step of the way since you've got this list. Oh, by the way, if you've got a social following, you're also trying to drive a social following in there as well. But it's mostly going to be driven by your email list. Okay. Daily launch and question mark. If you've got questions, put them in there. I see lots of questions coming in. We're coming up on the Q&A section. Okay, so the daily launch. This is where things get crazy. Okay, so this looks a lot like the other ones where you have an opt-in page, and the opt-in page is driving people to your list. Okay, but we've got these magical triangles up here, and these are JV partners or joint venture partners. They are people that are in your market that have a tribe, a following, an email list that is going to be interested in your product, your topic. Those JV partners, they might have spent a year or 2 years or 10 years building this list, building this tribe. And let's just say you've got 5 partners here. Maybe you've got Jack and Jane and Fred and Tom and Bill. Okay. And what they'll do is when your launch is about to happen, they'll send people into your opt-in list. Or into your opt-in page, and then they'll join your list. And then once they join your list, then you take them through the Sideways Sales Letter. Now, I simplified this right here because of amount of room, but really, this would be PLC 1, and this would be PLC 2, and you would actually have PLC 3. These are opt-in pages. So you would have an opt-in for each piece of pre-launch content. So they would mail to PLC 2 opt-in, and they would mail to PLC 3 opt-in. And all of those would go onto your list, and then you would drive them through here. So let's just do some completely made-up math. But let's just say you have these 5 partners. And let's say each one of them had 10,000 people on their email list. They have this following of 10,000 people. Well, when they mail, that means 50,000 people are being mailed and told about your launch, your Sideways Sales Letter. So let's just say, and this is the scary part, I'm going to actually attempt to do math here. It's simple math, but I'm going to attempt to do math on camera. So team, be watching this math, let me know. We did a rehearsal yesterday, I completely missed a digit here. It was pretty silly. But yeah, this would be, if I script the math, maybe we'll get a squirrel showing up out there. But anyways, so let's say that 50,000 emails went out about your launch. Now we all know that not every email gets opened, and not every email gets clicked on. But let's just say that 10% of those, the people open the email and click on it. That means there's 5,000 people now coming into your opt-in page. So they've driven 5,000 people into this PLC1 opt-in page. Okay, so let's just say you had 40% of those people say, yes, I want to get your lead magnet, and they enter their email address and click the button, and they join your list. So 40% is not, it's sort of a run, it's a good number, but it's not crazy. I mean, I've had up to 60%, and it's pretty easy to get 45 to 50% in most markets. So let's just say you had 40%. So this is that scary math, but I'm pretty sure if 40% of 5,000 is 2,000 people. So now 2,000 people here join your list. And now 2,000 people are going to go through your pre-launch content. Now, here's the cool thing. That's just for your first PLC. They're going to mail for your second PLC. And that's another, you know what, the reality is it's not going to be another 2,000 because some of their super active people have already come through and joined your list. But in that next one, maybe 1,500 join. And then the third time they mail your squeeze page or opt-in page, maybe you get, let's just say another 1,500 to keep the math easy for me. So if you add that up, that's a total of 5,000 people have now joined your list. So we had 2,000, and we had 1,500, and we had 1,500, total of 5,000 people have joined your list. Now, if you're just starting, I mean, we've got people watching this that have multi-million-dollar businesses. And you can just scale these numbers up if you want. But if you're just starting out, what would it be like to get 5,000 people on your list in a week or two? And those 5,000 people are going through the most powerful conversion mechanism that's on the market right now. So I'm not going to guess at how this has translated, what 5,000 would translate, completely depends on the market. But the reality is when I did this, the first time I did this, I started with, actually what I did, that first time with Practical Formulas, I did seed launch and then I jumped right to the JV launch. And I got about 20,000 people on my list. Starting with 0 and 20,000 people within a couple weeks time frame during my pre-launch, and it ended up being, for me, $600,000, just over $600,000 in sales. So that's the JV launch. This is how you can just blow it up in a huge way. Now, it's more complicated. There's more pieces, more moving pieces. Oh, one thing. Why do they do this? Why would these people mail? Why would these people mail? Why would they mail into your squeeze page and put all their people on your list? Because when you get down here and you make sales, let's just go down here and you make sales, then you'll end up giving a commission for the people that they referred to you. So if Jane here referred 20 people that bought, you have software that tracks. The software, it's sort of all over the place. It's not very complicated. The software tracks the opt-in, it tracks them on your list, it tracks them through, and it tracks to the sale. And then you know what partner drove that sale, and then you give them a commission. The commission could be 30%, or it could be 40%, or it could be 50% of the sale. So when I say I brought in $600,000 in sales, that was a total sales. Then I paid probably about $250,000 or $300,000 of that to my partners. And so that left me with maybe $300,000, maybe a little bit more. Was I happy to pay them a commission? I was doing backflips. I was ecstatic. Because here's the thing, you not only get that money, but you get to keep the list. I kept that list. After they opt in, now you've built your list, and you can move forward. So you have a prospect list, and then over here, remember, you not only make sales in dollars, but you get a buyer's list. So that is why this is like crazy. There is work involved. There's absolutely work involved. It's harder than an internal launch. There's more moving pieces, and you have to go out and develop relationships with those partners. That's part of the process. Okay, so let me just show you, let's see what we have back here, how these fit together. Because I want to give you the path. So typically, the way this works is you go in this direction. You start off with a seed launch, and then you use that seed launch to get your first little list to create a product. And then often through that process, as you take the recordings and everything, you sort of touch it up and turn it into a product, you still got that squeeze page going. You still have people opting into your list. And now you come to the internal launch, you usually have a bigger list. You do that internal launch, you get bigger results. And then hopefully, possibly, maybe, somewhere in there, you start to attract attention of some partners. And then you do the JV launch. And at that point, now you've got so much data from the market that you say, oh, I created this guitar repertoire product, but you know what? There's a product. There's a lot of people want to know about stagecraft, about guitar stagecraft. Now that I completed songs, I want to go out and play open mic, but I need to know how to do that. So, or my people need to know how to do that. So I'm going to do a product on stagecraft, on guitar stagecraft. And so you get that idea. Well, what do? You do another seed launch. You do another seed launch to create that next product. But the next time around, you've got more resources. So maybe you start off and you build that 300-person list, and maybe I don't know, maybe you do just completely making this up, $5,000 in sales. be awesome. How amazing would it be if you paid $5,000 to create a product? And you know what? It might be $1,000 or it might be $20,000, whatever. But you got paid to create a product and you create your first product, even if you were scared to do it, even if you had been in marketing land. Now, while you're touching up that product and turning it into a product you're going to roll out with the internal launch, get your sideways sales letter, maybe, and because of the word of mouth you got from that, maybe you built up to 1,000 people. Okay. And then you do that launch, and now with 1,000 people, and for this more polished product, I don't know, maybe that launch is, I don't know, $20,000. And because you're now out there in the market, some of the other people in the market, the other leaders in your market are noticing what you're doing. They're noticing what you're doing. They're saying, hey, that's pretty cool. I saw you do that launch. I saw that side-by-side sales that you did. I love the free content you put out. Next time you do that, can I promote for you? And maybe you land 1 or 2 partners. And the next time you come around, you do a JV launch for those 1 or 2 partners. And maybe with those 1 or 2 partners, you add another 5,000 people to your list. Or let's say another 4,000. You get those up to 5,000 people. And now you end up doing a $60,000 launch. And now you got the idea for the next product, and you come up and do a seed launch. But this time, your seed launch, the second time around, instead of having 300 people, you got 5,000 people. Will that make it better? Of course it will. And so now the seed launch, you're up to 5,000 people. And now you can afford to do a better job and promote it more, and you grow your list even more. And maybe this seed launch, I don't know, I'm completely making up numbers. Maybe this seed launch is 20,000, and you create your second product. And now you go into your internal launch with a bigger list and more experience, and you create the sideways sales letter. And that sideways sales letter is so much better that you check more partners. Maybe this time around you've got 10 partners, and now you start to blow these numbers up. And this is what we call launch stacking. This is when my stock market business, the first ever launch I did basically a seed launch. I did $1,650, right? And then the next launch I did was $6,000. And then I figured out how to create my next product, and the next product was $34,000. And then I turned that into a launch that did $106,000. And it was basically this little stacking, bigger and bigger and bigger. That's the way business works. So this is called the launch stacking. And this is the idea of launches growing from one launch to another. As your products get better, your list gets bigger, you get better at communicating, you get better at doing your sideways sales. It's also something that we call this circle of awesome. It's a circle of awesome where you basically are doing a seed launch to create your products that are great products because they're tuned to what the market wants, because you do that Q&A. That survey. You figure out how to create a great product because of the seed launch. Then you're polishing the product, polishing the launch, and you're attracting more partners. And it grows and it grows. That's how I went from a seed launch where I sold 6 units up to doing tens of millions of dollars in sales. So let me just see where I'm at here in my notes. So what I want to do next, what I'm going to do next is I want to go from theory to practice. I want to show you how this works in the real world. Because the thing I know is the people watching this, you probably fall in one of 4 categories. You've either got an online business, you've got an existing business, and this is a great day for you. Because if you just take what I taught in the first 2 lessons, forget about the next lesson, just these first 2 lessons and add it in. Though when you do that sideways sales, like I said, it's going to be 2 of the best weeks you've ever had. So you might have an existing business. Or you might be a practitioner or a coach of some sort. Maybe you're helping people with their health or with their money or with their relationships. But you've been working one-on-one and you're looking for some leverage. You're looking to maybe take your work out to a bigger audience. Maybe you've got some great work and you can help a lot of people and you want to make an impact with it. Then the third category is you're some type of creative, an artist, an author. You're writing books. You're creating sculpture, painting, photography, film. And you're looking to get your work out there. And I'll tell you what, this formula, the sideways sales letter, is the way you get it out there. And the way you make the sale without feeling salesy or hypey or slimy or scammy. It's just a way that you tell your story and the story of you and your art and get it out there and actually get an audience for it. And then the 4th category is, well, you're basically like I was in 1996, and you're just starting out. And you don't have a list, you don't have a product. Or like I was when I restarted, when I had to restart, when my partner stole my business from me, and I restarted in 2005, again with 0 list and no product. And if you're there, then I know I went fairly deep into the seed launch today, spent a lot of time in seed launch, but that is your magic ticket to having the income, the lifestyle that you want. So, like I said, I do want to take this from theory into practice and show you how it works in the real world. So can we go ahead and roll it? So I'm here with Eric Solbeck, and he's got a really cool story, and he's done some amazing things and some very, very different things with product launch formula. So Eric, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Jeff. I'm looking forward to this.
So can you tell our viewers a little bit about you and your business and what you've done?
Yeah, of course. I guess the important thing is I go back to kind of what I did, call it a previous life. I was a chartered professional accountant, CPA, and I did that for over 26 years. And I got out of that industry because I was sick and tired of the grind. And so I got out of it, and then I was looking for something new. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life. I was, looking for that restart. And so then I found Product Launch Formula. And I went, oh, this is great. I want to do something like this. This is fantastic. But I still didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what I was going to have with the product. I didn't have any idea about doing internet marketing. I was an accountant. Let's be honest, accountants suck at sales to begin with. Never mind trying to go on the internet and sell something on the internet. I had no idea. So, which is funny to think about after knowing go to where I'm at now. But anyways, so I then found Product Launch Formula, and I came up with an idea. And as you can see, I've got a little sign here that I keep posted in my office. It's the Accountant Success Formula. So you can see I modeled it after somebody we know. And so so I thought, okay, and then I implemented the program based on that. And I did, like I said, when I bought the program, I didn't even have an idea. And I came up with the idea. Then I decided to test it, and I did a seed launch. And from there, I did my first seed launch after a few months of owning the program. And the other thing I did is I was following what it said to do was to start posting content. And I'd never done that too, like never posting video. So I had to practice posting video. And I was looking back just before we got on the call because I was wondering when I actually first started that. It was August 2017. So it was just over a year ago that I first started doing it. And I was looking at the first videos I did and slightly cringing because it was like, it's amazing the change that happens just in a short period of time. But I started in August and I did my first seed launch in November. And I made $10,000 on my first seed launch. And I actually started with 0, like a 0 list. And I got it up to 200 people. And so now I actually have a thriving business with the Account Success Formula. I coach and train accountants how to update their business model. So what happened in my world is when I was an accountant, there's a billable hour model that the accountants use, and it's a grind, and it's a horrible lifestyle. I lived it for 26 years. You try and talk to an accountant between January and April, and they have no life, right? And not only do they have no life, they're very grumpy. Like, you don't see your kids, you don't hang out with your friends. And so again, it was this epiphany that came to me as I was working through Product Launch Formula that, wait a second, there's a different way of doing this. There's a different way of doing this, and I can show accountants a better way. And so that's my new mission in life, is to actually help accountants change their business model over so they can get their lives back. And it's happening. My one-on-one coaching clients are just, they're having incredible results. But I never would have even found it if I hadn't gone online and actually launched myself. Like I didn't even have, like I said, I didn't have an idea of what I was going to do when I first got Product Launch Formula. And then it just snowballed from there. You know, it's been an amazing ride, really.
So November 2007, so you start with a 0-person list. You didn't have an idea. You said, okay, this is my idea. You have 0 people on your list. You start publishing content. You build that up to 200 people. Is that through just by people finding your content, or?
Well, yeah. So it's interesting. So I started just publishing right away. So first I created a website and I set up a blog and I started posting to there, and I posted to LinkedIn and I posted to Facebook. Right, those are my 3 spots. And then I was like, okay, kind of get the bugs out, practice, keep doing those first few videos. And then I was like, okay, well, let's try a little bit of Facebook ads. So I did a little bit of Facebook ads. Like I didn't blow a lot of money on it, because again, I was testing the waters to see if this was even a viable product. Like this was a business idea, like not even a proven business, like having a proven business model out there that works. This was like a totally different way of approaching an entire industry, which by the way is completely ingrained in the archaic old model. Like, I mean, you want to try and get accountants to change, very painful, very painful. So, you know, to get them to move is difficult. So I didn't spend a lot of money, but I spent a little bit just at Facebook ads to build up that small list and just to get that first, and then do a seed launch to them and see if it proved out, see if the model proved out. And yeah, the first seed launch, I made $10,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's interesting. So you did that in November. So that was right before their crazy time starts.
Oh, yeah. That was the whole purpose of it, is to do that.
And so what happened next after the $10,000?
That's where the smile comes across my face. It's hard to not see all the whites. So then I had what you've coined the Launch Echo. And I heard you talk about the Launch Echo, but I experienced it and it was crazy. So because I was online, because I was publishing, and because I did the seed launch, I had these accounting firms reach out to me and say, Eric, hey, can you help us? Can you help us? Can you help us? And so I was like, oh yeah, sure. And so I started getting one-on-one coaching clients as a result of this Launch Echo. And literally January, and again, this is the busy season for accountants. So as you pointed out, like this is the crazy time. I closed over $111,000 of one-on-one coaching business. And that's when I went, I think I have something here. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. So $10,000 in seed launch sales.
Yes.
Where you sold it before you create the product. That's the thing that's also about the seed launch. You actually sell it and then you create the product. So you deliver it via, I think you said before we started recording, via a series of webinars. And then that led to $111,000 in sales beyond then, which is one coaching client.
Yes. I know. And as you said, I'm glad you brought that up, because it reminds me, as I sold the seed launch program, I brought in $10,000 of business. And then I was like, okay, now I have to write a course. And so literally I was writing the slides in the course the week before I was delivering it, based on feedback that I'd heard from them. And then I had a basic idea structure, or an outline of what I wanted, because I knew where I wanted to take them on the journey, but I was building it as I went along. And so apparently I built it right, because it works. And this for me, the real exciting part is that I was an accountant, and I still am. I'm still an accountant at heart. It may not look like it from all the guitars and the slightly non-accountant shirts that I wear, but I am a numbers geek at heart. Like, I'm an accountant, and so I really care about accountants. I care about the fact that they're suffering, and I've seen this change in their lives where they're making so much more money, they're happier, they have less stress, and they're starting to spend time with their families. I mean, for me, that's just amazing. Like, that impact it hits home for me, because that was, another one of the reasons why I wanted to get out of the industry, is because I had a young family as well, and like my daughter was just preschool. And so I want to make sure I spend time with her. That was another reason why I got out, because I want to spend some quality time with her before she has to go to school. And so when I see these accountants having these amazing breakthroughs and their businesses thrive, but not only that, the quality of life improves. I mean, that's just like there's win-win. It's everywhere. It's fantastic.
That is fantastic. So since you are a numbers guy, and since you've got a real business background, I would love to hear you talk a little bit about, you bring in $121,000. Now, we haven't talked about that's sales. That's not profit. We'll talk about profit, sales, and we forget about profit. I imagine your margin on that was incredibly high. Your profit margin was incredibly high. Yes. And so now, just a few months into this business, you bring $121,000 of very high margin sales.
Yes.
And yes, you had your work with people, so you have there's work involved. But now you get back and maybe it's now let's say early 2018, earlier this year, you're like, as a business person, as an accountant, what is that set up going forward for you? Is this like a real business, or is it a promising business? Does it go someplace?
Yeah, exactly. And that's, and again, because I'm a business model minded guy, I'm always thinking about what does this business model look like? Like, this is the first hit. Like, how does it go from there? So I'm still creating more value for my clients and finding out what works best for them, and then how the model's going to work around them. So like, I've added a mastermind course, like as a bonus add-on, like, and I put that in there, like a quarterly mastermind, which is blown up. That's been fantastic. And so I can see where this model is going to go, and it's fully leverageable. That's the best part. It doesn't take a lot of my time. And that's even better, like, because now I get to start up I get to play a heavy metal band again. Like, that was another one of my passions. You can see music. I love music, right? And so now I've got this band that I play in, and I can spend time doing that, and I'm driving my daughter to school and all the rest of that. So from a sustainable business model, like, the business is going to make incredible money, but it's the lifestyle that I have attached to it. And like you said, the margin is like, basically I need an internet connection. I've got my website, web hosting. There's no cost of goods sold here. It's just some of my time, and I haven't even leveraged this yet. Like, I haven't leveraged it to a fully, because ultimately the plan here is to turn it into a video program where I'm not doing the work, but I'm giving it to you, and then I can maybe do a lower price point because it's not a one-on-one, and then I'll model it out from there. So yeah, it's viable. And in this year, I brought on even more clients. So I'm actually going to be, and I'm coming up and doing another launch. So I'm not including any launch results in that. But right now I've already got over $220,000 of revenue for this year, already locked in, without this next launch. So it's a viable business.
That's fantastic. So final words of advice for someone. You're coming from a professional background, from a business background, from a really service provider background. There's gonna be a lot of people in your shoes or the shoes you were wearing a year ago, literally a year ago. And they're thinking, can this possibly work for me? Can I launch? What would you say to that?
Yes, and yes. The biggest hold, like, the thing for me, it was being behind a desk all the time, and I'd had enough of that, and I wanted a better lifestyle. And you see these other people, especially for accountants, this is the painful part, Jeff. accountants do tax returns for really successful entrepreneurs. And so it's like putting salt in a wound when you're doing someone's tax return and then you see that they're off having this amazing lifestyle while you're grinding out tax returns in the office. So it's painful. You can break free of that and go out and be an entrepreneur and go online. It sometimes may seem daunting, like, oh, I can't do it, or I don't have the skill set, or I can't talk openly, like especially business people are like, oh, I can't do videos. Well, I couldn't do videos at the beginning either. Like I look back at my old videos and I kind of cringe, but you just start doing it and you get a little bit better. You just build on the fundamentals, and that's something I keep coming back to. Is I keep working on the fundamentals over and over because I'm just starting out, like I'm just beginning on this journey, right? So it's building those fundamentals and not getting overwhelmed with the pictures, just trying out a concept and seeing if it works. And then if it has legs, you're like, okay, let's keep working on that. So and that's where I use PLF to just use the fundamentals. Like, I mean, when I got PLF, I had an idea for a business, but I had no list, I had no tech, I had nothing. And now I'm running a 6-figure consulting business from my living room, playing heavy metal music and wearing loud shirts.
Eric, you're awesome. I really appreciate hearing your story. It's been amazing watching your progress in the last year. And yeah, it's fantastic. Love it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Is Eric cool or what? I mean, he doesn't look like any accountants I know, but he hasn't had, the last year he's had, is probably not like any accountants that I know. So this is something, 26 years as an accountant, not an entrepreneur. And then finally saying it's time for change. So 26 years, started with a list of 0, built that list up to 200 for a seed launch, did $10,000 in a seed launch, which is just awesome. But remember how I said a client, a buyer, someone who just became a buyer is worth on average 15 times what a prospect is worth. So if we don't know how many buyers he had, but those buyers basically turned into another $100,000. So that's a 10x over his initial seed launch sales. And now he's already, so this all just happened within the last year. Literally last September is when he got Product Launch Formula and came into my world. November did that seed launch, and now this year, $200,000. Again, none of this, there's no typical, there's no average. There's no such thing as the average entrepreneur, the average Product Launch Formula owner. There's no such thing as typical. The reality is most people are going to go through this launch masterclass, they're going to watch the entire thing, they're not going to take action. So that's your average result. That's your typical result, is 0, no results. But if you step up and take action, put together a seed launch, what a crazy progression. What a crazy, crazy progression. And I love the idea that he had, when he came into my world here, he had no idea. And now what's he doing? He's helping all kinds of accountants have better lives. Now, I have to admit, like when I first came out with this stuff, and then when I first decided that my mission in life is to help entrepreneurs help other people, accountants wasn't the first one I thought of. But I'm helping accountants have a better life because of Eric. It's awesome. That's me being super egoful there. I'd like to keep track of, well, there's no way I can keep track of everyone that I helped because I helped. That's why I love having these amazing Product Launch Formula success stories. First is worst. He talked about, this is the idea, the first time you do something is the worst it'll ever be. The first blog post you ever have, the first video you ever do, the first opt-in page you ever put together will be the worst. It'll just get better from there. He says he cringes when he looks at his old videos. Trust me, I look at my old videos and I tell my team to take them down because they're so bad. But you would get better. There's a question that came through that says, what if I'm not comfortable on camera the way you are, Jeff? And the thing you have to understand is I'm an introvert. Up until a few years ago, I could never imagine being on camera. I could never imagine being on stage. But it's just something that I learned that I like to do. That's fun to do. And I learned that I can make a huge impact. And oh, by the way, most of us with online businesses are introverts. That's why we have an online business. But stepping in front of a camera the first time is scary, but it gets easier. And if you really, really, really don't want to stand in front of a camera, you can do it all with screen capture. You don't have to appear on camera. Then finally, the launch hacker. We've heard that from several of the case studies we had in lesson 1. That's the idea of all the extra benefits that come to you. When you start getting invited on podcasts, when you get invited to speak, when you get invited to appear in products, when you have that positioning as the expert, as a go-to person, when you start to get calls from TV and radio that they want to interview you, that's the launch hacker. Okay, so one more case study for you. This one I absolutely love because this is in a market that I didn't even know existed. I'm here with Kara Andretta, and Kara has a somewhat unique business and a great story. And Kara, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
And would you just tell them a little bit about yourself and your business?
Well, I am a stay-at-home mom homeschooling my 3 boys who is lucky enough to earn a really nice living teaching people how to run home-based custom cake decorating businesses. And that was not something I ever planned on doing, but once I saw a need in the market and figured out how to talk with people about it, it turned into something really cool.
And so could you just talk, because I know I've seen the photos, can you talk a little about what we're talking about with these cakes?
So my cakes in particular, and the people who are drawn to me, they're cakes that don't look like cakes. They look like anything but cake. And people look at them and go, oh, that booger eating troll, that's cake. I can eat that. Yes, you can definitely eat that, but they're gravity defying. They're really fun and cool. Nothing you're going to get at your local grocery store.
And how have you, so you've done this and now you actually help people have a business doing this. And so how's that happen? How's that evolved?
So I originally started with a blog back in 2012, and through teaching people how to make really cool cakes, I realized the problem for people being successful in it had nothing to do with the physical skills. They loved learning it, but they made beautiful cakes, but they didn't have a successful business. And having a business background, I started hearing them saying little things, just by paying attention to my audience and being present with them. And I realized that they needed a foundational support underneath their physical skill set. So I started talking to them about, well, this is what makes businesses successful. And, you could try this and, how about that? And people started resonating with it and asking to hear more. So I decided to, create a little program to kind of help them and to explain to people who are not business savvy, but who are creatives, especially, how to be profitable about their creativity. And it worked.
And so what happened?
So in 2015, I hit an up spike and people following my decorating stuff. So I had more people kind of coming around me. And because I was already talking a little bit about business, I had this newer audience going, okay, we want to hear more too. And so I found this amazing program in September through another amazing man, Michael Hyatt. He introduced me to you in your world. And I thought, maybe this is how I do it. Maybe this is how I approach people and help them understand what I can do to help them, because I had no clue. I was just talking to people. And so I followed this formula, and I went from just selling, a few thousand, per year in physical cake decorating tutorials, to selling big numbers of business courses. And so my first beta launch kind of proved it to me that, you can go big, you can go all in on this. And so then April of 2016, I went all in with PLF. I went all in with reaching my people, with talking to my people, with really being 100% there for them in what I was producing and the results that I wanted to help them achieve. And my launch, I did 88,000 in launch product numbers. So in my physical business course, Cake Success Mentor Series, but there was this other 3,000 of ancillary product purchases of small ticket items just because people started finding me. I was growing this amazing group of people just through, going out there and doing this launch. And so while my audience, I had an audience to start, it grew exponentially during this launch period. 10,000 new followers on Facebook in the 18 days between PLC1 and Closed Cart. An extra. My launch list, I seeded my original list was 2,400 of people subscribing to me, but they just seeded my launch list. I said to them, hey, so I got this thing. If you want to know more, click this button. And then they only got it if they went over there. There's only about 400 people who moved over, but my launch list grew to 6,000 total by the end of my launch. And I didn't know what to do with any of these numbers. These numbers were just climbing and climbing every day. My husband, after the third day of open cart, was just like, I can't keep looking at this. I'm getting really bad anxiety and I'm becoming preoccupied. You tell me when you close cart and then we'll talk. And I was like, I'm not gonna be able to shut up about this. This is too amazing.
So if from 400, so yeah, the following on Facebook sort of blew up. You got 400 of those to move over from Facebook to your email list, and at the beginning of your launch, and then it grew from there to 6,000.
My final launch email list was, I think, 6,100 and change. So yes.
And did that just come through word of mouth? People spreading Facebook texts?
I like to think the majority of it did because I have a dedicated following, but I was using advertising. I'm gonna say, people think that I must have put in like $40,000 worth of advertising. I spent $1,500 to advertise and to have $1 regenerate $450 for me. Just to get the word out there and to just have a really good message. I really don't think that the thing about it was the advertising. I think it was about how I spoke to people, how I connected with people, and the fact that I finally knew how to communicate in a way that would help them understand what we can change together.
Wow, amazing. So you're a creative. I mean, it's not, you have some business background, I heard you say, but you're at heart, you're a creative, and you're working with creative, and you're teaching creatives, and you're helping creatives sell their stuff, right?
Correct.
And which is interesting because a lot of times people that are creative and they're artists. I mean, you work with artists, and a lot of times artists are, I know this, that they're reluctant to sell. And they're a lot of times not terribly savvy about business. And what would you, because I got a lot of those people following me and they're wondering, can business work? Can selling work? Am I gonna feel bad about selling? What would you say about all of that since you're coaching those people?
Yes. So I would say that the biggest hurdle to get over and is the idea that what you have can positively impact another person, which can positively impact the world. And one of the more hard things I ever heard, but that I drive into my people over and over and that they actually love once the tough loving moment feels over is you're selfish. If you're hoarding what goodness you have and you are not changing other people's lives for the better with it. And I think once you get it out of the, I'm unsure of myself to, maybe I am being selfish about this. It starts to no longer be about you and that internal creative of, am I good enough? Are people going to like me? Which is the creative, dialogue we have happening inside. But when you realize that even if you're teaching someone to paint better, like a Nick Wilton, there's satisfaction. There is a win happening in there, and it doesn't matter what kind of creativity it is. As a creative, and Jeff, you love music, that there's something that creative, that art does for a human soul. It's healing, it's life-giving. And it doesn't matter that it's creativity and not like, book publishing or something like that, or, web development. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're doing something for a human soul and spirit and bettering the world through doing so.
Amen. Thank you. So how about, I've seen some of your launches. I've seen some of your copy. I've seen some really, really fantastic email copy from you. So how do you think about creating your pre-launch content, creating that story, creating that connection?
I think one of the strongest and best tools I have that I learned was to know my avatar like I know myself. I know her. She has a name. I have multiple products and I have multiple avatars. I know Karen, I know Cheryl, and I know Christy. And I know specifically where they live in my head. I know what their kitchens look like. I know what their kids and family look like. I know what they wear when they go outside the house. I know what their anxieties are. And I am so connected with who they are that they are quite simply people to me. They are not, a worksheet any longer. And thinking about talking to one single person throughout all of that changes it from being this impersonal, hey guys, I have this thing, I think some of you might want it to, hey Christy, I think this might matter to you. I think this might be something that you think about or worry about. And I think I can help. And it changes the conversation that goes on in your head, which then changes what you end up typing. But connecting with another human being, understanding their story and discussing their story throughout the story arc, and taking them through their own journey, but through your eyes of understanding, it makes all the difference.
One of the emails that I remember reading of yours was, it was an email you sent, it was the closing day on your open cart period. And do you remember that email?
I had a couple good ones, but I've had one.
Tell me about a couple good ones. You were one of them because you had some special copy.
I'm not sure if it's the same one you're thinking of, but I was literally kind of a little bit broken in that moment. I didn't know what more to offer my people. I went to my community within the PLF community and I just said, I need support. I was really just looking for emotional support and I got more support. But what I realized I needed to do was just drop the marketing, drop the, that last minute natural want to get more sales and instead just address the human being on the other side of the computer. Because if I couldn't connect with them as a human, then I had failed. And it can be really hard. It can be really hard, especially in like open cart period to turn off the marketer and to remember it's a human being. It's not just a transaction. And that was one of the biggest blessings I received from the community, but that I was able to then pour forward into my community was that, hey, whether or not you join me here, thank you. And I hope I've served you. Please stick around anyways. But we're all on this journey together. And that email, that just heartfelt email about nothing other than thanking them for being in my world, that did turn into sales, but that wasn't actually my objective at that moment. It was simply to pour gratitude forward because pouring gratitude forward is never a losing situation. So.
Yeah, that was exactly the email I sent you. It was an extraordinary email. And it was beautiful because we got to see how it developed when you came to the community and you said, this is what I'm feeling. And you got coaching, and the coaching was just, hey, take this moment of realness and rawness and share that with your people because this is the moment when they need to hear that.
Yeah.
And, it was beautiful. And
thank you.
It's just beautiful. So for someone wondering, who is it, maybe a creative, who is wondering if this will work for them, if they can launch, what would you say to them?
Absolutely. the only obstacle in your way is you. And that, that could be the toughest obstacle, or it could be the easiest obstacle to set aside and to allow the program in. I remember the one thing you said that changed everything for me. And I didn't approach this trepidatiously. I didn't approach it with, caution, or I was open to everything. But one of the things you said in the very first module is you have to drop but this won't work for me. This won't work in my niche. You have to leave that at the door and just trust. And I've used that with my students because it's almost like permission to people, but I needed that permission and that nudge to just trust the process. And that's one of the first times in my life I've ever ceased control and just given it over. And I learned an amazing lesson in that moment that maybe I don't know everything. And maybe I don't even know everything about my niche or my people or how they're going to respond. So maybe somebody else really can help me do what I, dream of doing. And that was the turning point for me. So I would encourage others to, before they get to that first point, to hear that and internalize that. Just drop the idea and be open and follow the process.
Kara, thanks so much. It's been great to watch your journey, and I just love the passion and the heart that you bring for your people and how you serve them. It's great to watch.
Thank you, Jeff. I had a great mentor.
I just love Kara's story. It's awesome. One of the things she didn't mention was that $91,000 that she pulled out of her launch, she used that, her husband used it to buy their first home for their 3 boys. So I just absolutely love that. So before I tease out some of the things I picked up from Kara, I just want to mention, I'm about to go to the Q&A section. So get your questions, just scroll down, put them in your comments. I know it's throwing a lot at you, so I'm about to start the Q&A. So, and we still need more questions. Put your questions down in the comments. Anything we see right up here like this, it's reminders for me so I don't forget stuff. So enter your questions. I want to answer them. And then just a reminder, I mentioned this really early on, but we do have our super secret segment yet to go. That is coming up. It's going to be short. It's going to be powerful. If you saw the super secret segment last time, tell me in your comments what you thought of it, because I thought it was pretty cool. When we did it, we had some people that were pretty stoked on it. So super secret segment coming up. And just a bit of a hint, sometimes if you've ever been to one of those Marvel movies and it ends and then they play the credits and then it comes back up with another scene. Let's just say I might use that as an inspiration for the super secret segment. So in any case, Kara, so did you get this? Now I have to follow back up with Kara, but I think she published, she started in 2012. So she published for 6 years and got a following of 2,400 people. And I think that was on Facebook, but let's just say they were on email. And then, so that was 6 years to get to 2,400. I actually think she only got 400 on her email list out of that, but I'm going to have to check back with her because I wasn't sure when I went back and re-listened to that case study. So let's just say 6 years to get to 2,400. And then she did her launch in 18 days, went from 2,400 to 6,000. So 6 years, 2,400. Someone out there with a calculator can calculate how many per day that was. It's not that many. Probably, it's less than one probably, and a subscriber per day. And then in 18 days, she had 3,600. 3,600. That's absolutely ridiculous. So one of the things I like to say, and it's very, very true, is the best way to build your list is with a launch. Best way to build your list is with a launch because you're putting out great, high-value information. Now, I went deep into that on lesson 1 about how to deliver huge value every step of the way during your pre-launch. And when you deliver huge value and great content, then you will grow your list by word of mouth and by just people telling other people. Remember at the beginning of the broadcast when I told you how many people had registered for the launch masterclass? I forget what the number was. It was like 20,000 or more. That's how you build your list, right? The other thing that just leapt out at me through that entire interview with Kara was just the humanity. And you made a question earlier about, I'm not a salesman. How do I sell? I don't know how to write sales copy. This is about being a human and communicating. And if you follow the Sideways Sales Letter and that formula and the problem solution path, that PS path, you really just have to be able to speak. You have to speak from your heart. I think it was obvious. That's how Kara reached her people. She knew these people that were running cake decorating businesses. She knew their pain points. And so she just spoke to their pain points. And that humanity that she touched into so deeply, well, you know what? It ended up generating a lot of sales. It's amazing. Human connection, human touch. It'd be like you're sitting down to help someone out, but you're doing it electronically. You're doing it digitally. You're doing it online. So you're going beyond just being able to help out one other person with a decorating business. Now you're able to help out thousands. And you help them out through that pre-launch, through the Sideways Sales Letter, and then boom, you have a $91,000 launch. And again, none of this is automatic. None of this is guaranteed. But you can see in all these different, we're only halfway through this launch masterclass, less than halfway through. And you've heard from people that did it for fetal alcohol syndrome, Jeff Noble, and fitness and weight loss, Una, and real estate and empowering women in Africa, Tembi, and accountants, Eric. What kind of market is accountants? And then cake decorating with Kara. So it just goes to show you how this can work with all kinds of markets, all kinds of niches, all types of offers, all types of products. So let's go ahead and get to some questions. You guys have any questions queued up? We have one from Heather Robertson. And Heather said, I have a 300-person list I haven't touched in 3 years. About a quarter of them I still email today. Would be bad practice to dust off that 300-person list and leverage it for an internal launch. You could. I'd probably more go with a seed launch. The thing is many of those, if you haven't mailed them in 3 years, a lot of those emails are not going to be good. A lot of those people have forgot about you. So the way I would actually do this, and this is laborious, but sometimes doing real labor can really pay off. And so I would email those 300. But I would actually send them an individual email. You don't have to write a different email, but you can take one email and send it 300 times. And if you did that and you addressed it individually to them and said, and it's basically this is the mea culpa. This is, hey, I'm sorry I haven't emailed you in 3 years. This is why. Life got busy. I got involved in this, and this. But I got something I'd really love to share with you. And the thing you really love to share is some super high-value piece of content and have them go and opt in for that. Or you can mail them a really great piece of content and then email them again with a second one, but put an opt-in page in front of that and get them to opt in. So basically what you're doing is you're using a bit of, it's a human touch. It's a human touch. And so what you're doing is when you send an individual email like that, it's going to help your emails get delivered and it's going to avoid spam problems. I mean, if you have a prior business history with someone, a prior history, and now you're sending them an individual email, then I'm not saying no one will complain, but you're not going to get any hot water. Okay, so a question from Sean. When you do a seed launch, do you set a bottom line that it has to get to in order to develop it? Well, you could. I'm not thinking, usually in a seed launch, it's not so much about the dollars to me, it's about the number of people. And so when I first did that product launch workshop, my seed launch for it, I made that offer to about 200, 250 people, and I got 6 of them to sign up. And I actually made that offer from stage. And it was the first time I'd ever made an offer from stage. I didn't have a lot of experience doing that. And getting 6 people to buy at 250 is actually not a very good result if you're speaking from stage. And I had a few people say, well, this is, it's not going to go anywhere. It's just, obviously it didn't convert. People aren't interested in this. But I did the course anyway, because I had 6 people that signed up. And remember, this is I was in a transition, between businesses. And so I needed the money, and I knew that this method worked. And so I went and taught it for those 6. And those 6, you know what, 3 of them I'm still in contact with, 13 years later, something like that, 13, maybe 14 years later, I'm still in contact with them. They became great case studies. And those 6 ended up launching everything. Just like I said, then I comped in a bunch more, and I ended up with about 30 people going through it. And the reason I wanted 30 people going through it, if we pop back to a seed launch, is, actually I'm not going to bother going back to it. Let's just do that quick drawing right here. So remember in that seed launch, we had the different surveys and the different calls, right? So over here was the surveys, and here was the delivery or the calls. So you want to have, the reason I comped in an extra 25 people to get up to 30 people was that I wanted to get a lot of data from each of these surveys. So that first survey, if you send a survey out to 30 people, how many people take it? How many people are going to take it? Well, the first time they're all excited, you probably got 28 people take it. So then you got a lot of information for that call, right? You've collected the questions. They've helped you design it. So the next time they do it, how many are you going to take it? And this time you're going to be down to instead of 30 people, or instead of 28 took this, I'm just making these numbers up, obviously, but there's a lot of experience that backs this up. Maybe you have 25 take it. But then by the time you get down to the 4th call, you might only have 10 people taking each survey. So if you start off with 5 or 6, unless they're super, super, super committed, then by the time you're down here, you might not have anyone showing up. And here's a little bit of trivia. This is silly, just to show you. What I do is I offer 5, because I'm going to do 5 calls, and then I'm going to do a bonus Q&A call, right? So that was 5 calls, so a total of 6 calls over here. But because I go a little crazy with the whole idea of over-delivery, what I did was I did those 6 calls, and then I did another 5 more calls that were with people that I had coached, people I helped. So they were like hour long, how we worked together, what they ended up with for the offer, how it worked, what the results ended up being, what they learned. And so super, super in-depth case studies. And so I did, it was 5 more of those, okay? And I did it, the whole thing started like in probably late April or something. So by the time we did the original 6 calls, and then we did 5 more, it was 11 weeks later. So we were into the middle of summer now. So I think it was like late June or July. And the very last call that I did, which was this case study, this interview call, with like a renowned expert who I coached to a really great launch. At some point this is back, in these days, this is 2005, and I'm doing a teleseminar. I'll never forget this. But at the end of each one of those bonus calls, I would do this extensive case study, and then I would see if anyone had questions for the caller or for me. So I opened the lines, I was like, anyone have any questions? And it was dead silent, no one there. And then I was like, oh, that's interesting. So then there's a way you can punch in a code and find out how many people are listening. And there was actually 0 people on that call. So that was the end of my seed launch. And even though I started with those 30 people, by the 11th call, I had 0 people. There's a lot of lessons in that, a lot of different lessons that I could unpack. But the lesson that I want to drive in to you right now is humble beginnings. I actually did a product that ended up, the final call, I had 0 people on it. And now I'm doing a live cast where I have thousands on it. And I've built this business that's helped people do hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. So seed launch can be a very, very humble beginning. And I think, did I just see a squirrel? I don't know. No squirrel. I saw something out there. Maybe it was a bird. So they're getting ready with squirrel cam. The team's over there, they got their finger over the squirrel cam button, ready to, here, just show them the squirrel cam one more time. That's the view out from the secret headquarters, and that's exactly where the squirrels actually munch on those. You see those little flowers there on the right side of the screen, or maybe it's the left side for you. Yeah, they were munching on those leaves and flowers. No squirrels so far today, but we still have a good half hour to go. Okay, next question. From Tara, how can I market to teachers where they will be willing to pay for a product that will help them have more peace and joy in their work-life balance? Well, so first of all, it doesn't matter that they're teachers. It could be, how can I market to lawyers? How can I market to accountants? How can I market to yoga teachers? It could be anything. So this type of product, I will tell you, it gives them more peace and joy in their work-life balance. This type of product is, I would say, 30 to 40% of my product launch formula owners have something along this lines. It's more what we call a soft topic. It's not how to make money. It's not how to have an accounting practice. It's not how to have a cake decorating business. It's not how to do real estate. It's not how to lose weight. So it's a little bit softer. And I will tell you that you have to, if you try to sell something like this without doing a launch, your chance for success is virtually 0. Because it's really hard for people to conceptualize what is peace and joy in their work-life balance. What does that actually mean? Like, if someone has more peace and joy in their work-life balance, what would that look like? How could you tell? Like, if your best friend all of a sudden had more peace and joy in their work-life balance, your best friend all of a sudden, you know this person so well, all of a sudden they had more peace and joy in their work-life balance, how would you actually know? It can be hard to quantify this type of thing. So this is a perfect example of how the sideways sales letter works. You want to think about it this way. It's like, if you had to capture it on camera, if you followed someone around, they have to see that they had more, it's all about making it concrete and making it not abstract, making it something that's tangible, something that you can see in the real world. It's like something's actually shifted in the real world. And I'm not saying that you can't deliver this and that they won't have more peace and joy and they won't have more work-life balance. But if you're going to sell it, you have to make that feel real because someone can't just buy this concept. Some people do, but people want to buy actual results. And you have to be able to communicate what those results are. And the best way to do it is sideways sales letter. It's like what you'll have to do, your work will be, you'll have to actually drill down and say, what would that look like? If I had to prove that in a court, if I had to take a video and show that they had more peace and joy, and then I had to show that in a court of law, what would I capture on that video? And it could be them like having fun with their family. It could be instead of like just sitting at their desk and just have bags under their eyes and looking tired and having 4 Red Bulls and 3 cups of coffee around them and hunched over their desk, terrible posture. Now if it shows them like hanging out with their kids because they have the peace that they don't have to work all the time and they have the joy of making those connections. Those are the type of things you show in your sideways sales letter. And again, it doesn't matter if you're doing teachers or any other type of market. There's a lot of people selling this type of thing: inner peace, connection, greater spirituality, and all those things. Your job is to make them as concrete and as tangible as you can. And like I said, lots and lots of people in the PLF world are doing this work. Okay, Stacy, says is the idea of asking people what they need to get the actual answers, i.e. more data, or get people talking back to you. So Stacy, I sort of talked about it over here. The idea is absolutely to figure out what they need. Because that's the beautiful thing. So like this is the deal. Let's flash back again to me, 2005. And I lost this business about the stock market. I decided I was going to do this business about marketing, about online building, about entrepreneurship. And I was going to, I was going to start helping people launch, right? And so in that transition, I already knew how to launch. I was really good at doing launches. I've been doing launches in my prior business for 8 years. I built up this whole methodology, right? So I was good at it. But that doesn't mean I was good at teaching it. And that's where many of us are, is we have a skill set, we have a knowledge, we have a domain, but we're probably pretty far down the road. We're probably fairly expert. Or we're not, oh, we got a squirrel. We have a squirrel, a little chipmunk. He just went behind the plants. You got him? I can't tell you how excited my team is. They worked so hard on getting this squirrel cam up. And can you see? You got a stand? We have the squirrel cam is working. Yeah, my whole team over here is giggling. They can barely contain themselves because they worked so long on the squirrel cam. And yeah, actually, I can go pick that camera up and move it around. Can I? Oh, you can. Well, actually, I think he ducked around. He's in the planner. Okay. Okay, I just need a few more seconds before I can think about what I was talking about before we went to the squirrel cam. So in any case, I was an expert at doing launches, but I wasn't an expert at teaching. And so there's this thing called the curse of knowledge. And the curse of knowledge, there's a great book called Made to Stick. And the curse of knowledge is if you're an expert, or if you're anything beyond a beginner, then it's hard to remember. It's very hard to remember what it was like to be a beginner and just how difficult things were and what the questions were. I remember so I'm a very passionate, avid mountain biker. That's one of the things I love to do. It's the reason I moved here to Durango, Colorado. And I love mountain biking. I remember when I started mountain biking, and I would come home every single day covered in blood. Like literally the first year, I didn't do a single ride where I didn't have some amount of blood on me. But I got better at it. And then my wife got, my fiancée at the time, my wife now, fiancée then, we got her mountain bike. And I took her out for the first ride, and let's just say that I'm lucky that I'm married because we almost broke up because I'm just like, oh, just do this, do this, do this. It's so simple. And I took her on this really, really insanely difficult trail with all kinds of drop-offs on the edge because it seemed like a simple trail to me. It was the curse of knowledge. So whatever market you're in, whatever you're going to bring out to the world, especially if a teaching product, a wisdom product, a knowledge product, you probably have the curse of knowledge. So you don't remember what it's like to be a beginner. You don't remember those beginner questions. So when you do this, you get into those beginner questions, you end up creating a great product. So right from the start, the very first product launch formula, when I released the product launch formula coaching program, right from the start, it was an awesome program. It was an amazing program. And it wasn't because I'm awesome. It was only because I followed this process where it was tuned to exactly what the market wanted. So if you are in a situation where you're like, you don't feel like for some reason that you can create a great product, you want to create something great, but you're like, you just don't have the confidence that you can actually do it. The seed launch is how you create a great product because the market helps you create, your buyers help you create a great product. So there you go, Stacey. You definitely do it to get the actual answers. Okay, next question. It's amazing. I've gone for 4 hours or like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I've yet to drop a marker. That's never happened before. Marilee Waters, how can I apply all this to my affiliate marketing business that I already have? So this actually works really, really well. Something that we call the shadow launch. It's one of those launches I haven't talked about yet. But the idea is like if you're selling something as an affiliate, which is not a bad way to go. In the long run, I don't love it being your only business. You need to have your own products. So if you're out there just selling affiliate stuff, it's a great way to make money. It's a great way to add an income stream to your business, but it's not a business because whatever you're promoting, they could go out of business. They could change their terms. The product could become lousy, and also you have to go find a different product. Affiliates, it's a great something to add into your business. But eventually, and it's not a bad way to start, but eventually you need to have your own products. So that just a little word of advice there. That being said, if you do a launch or an affiliate product, it's awesome. All you need to do is create a bonus. So if you create a bonus or a bonus package that people get if they buy through your link, then you do the classic sideways sales ladder, and it leads into an open cart and a closed cart. Now, again, if you didn't watch lesson 1, go back to lesson 1 where you can learn about opening closed cart. I'm also going to talk about it in lesson 4. But the thing is that product, if it's an affiliate product, it's on the market now, it's on the market a year from now, it's on the market, hopefully it's on the market a couple years from now. There's probably hundreds of other people that are promoting it. So how do you stand apart from hundreds of people? Or how do you, if it's going to be on the market for the next year or 2 or whatever, how do you create scarcity? You need to create scarcity. So what you do is you do 3 pieces of pre-launch content, a classic sideways sales letter. A lot of times with the shadow launch where you're selling an affiliate product, it's just pure email, sideways sales letter, email. And that leads into an offer, buy this thing in this period of time and you get my special extra bonus. I had someone do this and their results were like 20 times what they normally do with affiliate promotion. So this works really, really good. Thanks for that question, Marilee, because I often forget to talk about the shadow launch. Okay. Christina says, I have a book, but no list. Can I tweak this to sell the book? Yes, you can, absolutely. So first of all, you need to build a list. You absolutely, if you're going to be an author or a creator, you need to build a list. You have to. This business doesn't work if you don't have a list. If you go, if you're an author, these days it's, in many ways, many of us are self-published because that's just an easier way to go. You make more money, you get more margin. It's more flexible, you control your intellectual property. But even if, say you're a big fancy author or want to be a big fancy author and you want to go to New York and talk to all those, 6 or 8 major publishers, the first question they're going to ask you, the thing they're more interested in than your book is your platform. So your platform is a fancy word for your list. So that's all the publishers care about. If you go there and you say, I've got a 300,000 person list and I've got 500,000 people following me on Facebook, and you just give them the lousiest book idea in the world, they're going to say yes, they want to take you. But if you come there with the greatest book idea ever and say, yeah, I haven't started building a list. I got 40 or 50 friends on Facebook. Is that cool? They're like, sorry, we're not going to publish you. So you absolutely, if you're an author, you're going to go to New York and get published by one of the big publishers, you are responsible for marketing. They're not going to market for you. So if you're going to be an author, and this goes for artists as well, you have to be a list builder. And the thing you remember is no one starts with a list. Everyone starts with 0. You heard Eric started with 0. You heard Kara, it took her 6 years of building to get there. I started with 0. Both times I started my business. Everyone starts with 0. So even if you have 0, you have to start building your list. You go back to what I talked about earlier in this broadcast about building a list. It's just basic. If you create one chapter out of your book and gave that chapter away for free, and then you start driving people into that offer for that free chapter, now you've got some possibility. Once you build that list, then you can start selling people. Now, another thing I'll tell you is that if you have a nonfiction book, then no one makes any real money with a book. A book is just a lead magnet. A book is the way you get people to pay attention to you. A book is the way you get people to subscribe to your list. You need to create a course behind that book. And basically, you take the same stuff that's in the book, but you go a lot deeper, and you turn it into a course, or you turn it into a membership site. That is where the money is made for authors. Authors don't make money off of books. There is a very rare exception. You might have your 50 Shades, or you might have your Harry Potter, or you might, What to Expect When You're Expecting, something like that, where they actually make money. But they're 1 in a million. They're literally 1 in a million. But you can take a book that has modest success and follow it up with a membership site, and use that book to build your list. And you can start and then launch that product, launch that course, launch that membership site. That's how you have real success. And I know this might be heartbreaking for if you've been working on your book for a long time. You think, oh, I finally done this book. I'm just, yay! Now everyone's gonna buy it. I'm gonna make money. That is hope marketing. That's hope marketing. And take it from someone. It takes me forever to create stuff. But if you've been creating that book forever, and you're just gonna hope that it magically starts selling, your odds are probably better winning the lottery. Now, if you're writing a fiction book, then it's hard to do a course after a fiction book. What you need to do is a series of books. You can't just do one book, and you have to drive people. You still have to drive people from that book to your email list. So it's typically something at the end of the book that gives them a preview of the next book or the series, or something like that. But you still need to be building your following and building your list. Okay, Laura asks, what kind of price point should a seed launch be? How should it compare to the eventual program you create? Well, that's super interesting because prices are hard. They're hard to give an answer. So first of all, they widely vary by what market you're in. Now, when I did my seed launch for the product launch workshop, I only had 6 sales, right? The thing I didn't mention was I did go high end with that price. It was $3,000. So it was $18,000 in sales. That was awesome. So $3,000 is a crazy high price for a seed launch. Most seed launches are going to be less than that. And then later on, when I came out with my product launch coaching program, it was less than that $3,000. So you can go one of two ways. You can go really high end because they get to work with you. These folks that buy your seed launch, you're going to end up getting no one. Unless you have a really significant business right now and a big list, and you end up selling hundreds of people in your seed launch, which I've also done that as well. But later on, I did that. But those folks are going to get to know you. You're probably going to talk to them. They're going to ask you questions, and so you can justify a high price. On the other hand, if you have a very small list and you're just trying to get out there, you can go lower end. A lot of seed launches are in like that $297 range. But fundamentally, it's dependent on your market and what's the offer of some seed launches. It might include some extra one-on-one coaching that would drive the price up. Or you could do a seed launch and have 2 levels. It could be the regular seed launch, but you could also bundle in some additional one-on-one, and that could drive the price up. So you could go $297. Maybe so this is the deal. Some markets, like if you're teaching gardening, the pricing is going to be generally lower. If you're in a hobby, it's going to be a little bit lower than if you're in something like business building, like I am. I'm fortunate to be in a market that does support high prices. When I was teaching about the stock market, that's another market that supports high prices. But the thing is markets are interesting because I'm teaching online business, right? I'm teaching entrepreneurship, and it does support high prices. But if you're teaching gardening, it's a much bigger market. If you're teaching dog training, if you're teaching guitar, it's a much bigger market. It's 100 times bigger than my market. So a lot of times, the really big markets have lower prices, and the smaller markets have higher prices. So if you're going to teach how to grow tomatoes, you're going to have a different pricing than if you teach how to build a business online. It's just the way it is. But one of the things you can do is you can take a look around so what are the price points in your market? And a seed launch, like I said, it's the kind of offer people really like to buy coaching. And that's what it is. It's essentially a coaching offer. And that generally supports if the whole spectrum of pricing in your market is, is $20 to $500, you could probably be high towards the upper end of that with a seed launch. Okay, so Craig asks, let me grab some water here. I'm glad I caught that squirrel. How about that? That was like, it was just there for a little bit. I just happened to catch him out of the corner of my eye. And I do know that was not really a squirrel, it was a chipmunk. So I'm sure there's someone correcting me in the comments. It's cute. The other day we had a squirrel and a chipmunk out there. And there's still time. We're still going to go for a little while. We might have a squirrel come out. Okay, Craig asks, what if you're selling a physical product online versus knowledge? So I'll tell you right off, full disclosure, 80% of my product launch formula coaching students are doing more of an online, either a course or a membership site or a forum or webinars or live events or mastermind programs. So 80% are in that knowledge field, and I love it. But 20% are in the physical product world, and I love them as well. And so it absolutely works. I mean, does it work for Apple iPhones? Yes, it does. It does. And that's why they do it. So typically, this is the deal. We all need to be in the publishing business. The way the world has evolved now is everyone expects, no matter what you're creating, you could be creating a camera tripod. And the people in your market, if they're looking at what you created, they are still going to be interested in contacting you and the ability to contact you. They're going to look for social, they're going to look at your social media presence, they're going to look at your website. So we all need to be publishers no matter what we're selling. We're all publishing at some level. So if you're publishing, then you can do a sideways sales letter and lead into the sale of a product, especially if it's a new product. The new product, the sideways sales letter is about the story of that product, the story of why it's different, how it's going to transform people's lives, when it's coming, where it's being manufactured, how you're going to release it, and the total offer. You can also think about bundles. Bundling physical products together. So like if you have existing e-commerce, you don't have, let's say it's not a new product, you can take a product and bundle it with a few other products and create a bundle and do that. If you do that once a month, and you drove a bunch of people from your email list because you're selling stuff, you've got emails, you drive people into a sequence that sells that bundle. Even if it's only to drive more people back to your store on a regular basis, then you're going to win. So it absolutely will work for physical products. Like when I first released Product Launch Formula, I didn't know the answer. I didn't know if it worked for physical products. And shortly after I released Product Launch Formula, I had my first group of PLS students come through. I had someone use it for marching band accessories. He was selling marching, like gloves and batons and whatever you use in a marching band. Marching band accessories. I had someone else use it for wooden dolls. He was selling wooden dolls. And you get right down to it, like we have lots of people doing it for artwork, selling paintings. That's a physical product. Okay, moving on. Joe Clark, I'm about to do my first seed launch. One thing I understand is why is there only one PLC in the seed launch but 3 in the sideways sales letter? So Joe, first of all, if you want to do 3 pieces of pre-launch content for the seed launch, feel free. The reason that I teach it as one piece is because it's such an attractive offer. People love to buy that offer, that coaching type of offer, that series of coaching calls, that it's pretty easy to sell. So I'm just lazy. I'm like, just do one piece of PLC. So like I said, many students have done 3 pieces of PLC into a seed launch. And it absolutely works. Just take that sideways sales letter that I taught, and I went deep in lesson 1, take that, apply it, and you rock. But since I'm teaching, I mostly teach it for people that are just starting out. I try to make it a little easier, and usually you can get away with just 1 piece of pre-launch content. So it's that simple. Okay, Diana, what if I have a case study to show? What do you recommend to do instead? Well, there's we all start somewhere, right? So we all start without case studies and testimonials. And so that's one of the great things about the seed launch is the seed launch, that's one of the benefits I showed, is that you can generate case studies from that. And you can generally sell that seed launch without case studies, especially for the people out there who are like, you're already a practitioner, you already have one-on-one clients, and now you're just gonna do a group coaching in the seed launch, so that you do that to generate case studies. What I did with Product Launch Formula, is I actually helped out a few people. First, I helped out some friends. One of them I helped for free, right? Actually, two of them I helped for free. And then I went back to them and I said, hey, since I, in the middle of sort of coaching them into a launch, I went back to them and I said, and it's a little tricky, but I said, hey, and I've been giving them a lot of help. I've been writing emails for them. And I said, hey, I started coaching you. How about if you just pay me like $5, and that way I can say you're a client instead of just a friend. And we did that. So that's how I generated my first 2 clients. I helped them for free, then ended up charging them $5. They gave me $5. They were happy. One guy did $1 million launch. The other did like, oh, what'd you do? She was selling love letters and or selling training on how to write love letters. And she had the best month because of that launch. It ended up being the best month she'd ever had by a big factor ever in the history of her business. They were both happy to give me $5, and then I could say, well, my first 2 clients are boom, and use them as case studies. The reality is I could use them as case studies even if I just coached them without charging them, but that was just a little trick I used. So so I did that, and then I could talk about those people when I did my seed launch. So how can you develop the credibility? First of all, it's really about developing credibility. You don't absolutely need case studies. I know a lot of people have done launches and they've never done a case, never done a case study. They've never done a testimonial. I like doing it because I just love sharing the results. And I just love sharing the range of results. And Jeff Noble, he's like if you haven't seen his case study, go check it out. Because he started from nothing, and he's now the largest platform for the field of alcohol syndrome. Helping, he's not a doctor. He has no letters after his name. He's got no professional training. He was just a foster parent of a child with the field of alcohol syndrome, and he knew that need was out there. So he studied and he learned, and he started aggregating that information, and now he shares it. He's got the largest platform out there. He gets asked to speak on stages all around the world, and he just started out as a parent trying to help his kid. So he built up from that's the way it works. Is you start where you are and you build up. We have this thing in the Practice from the Coaching program called the testimonial cruncher, and it's basically a way to get great testimonials out of your people. And basically, you run them through a survey. That first, it might be one of these surveys, and then at the end of it, after they filled out that survey, then it asks for testimonial. So the testimonial is going to be about before. If your product's not done, you can just ask for a testimonial about you. That's the first level. Testimonial about you. You're a great person. You're a great teacher. And then you move from there, and then you get the testimonies for the product. So that's typically how it goes. Okay, Stephanie says, I love this launch stacking. But how does it work for a product like a novel, where you're not training people on things? So the launch stacking for a novelist, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, for nonfiction, you have to be building your list. You have to be building your following. You have to, if you have books that are already selling, you need to amend them so there's something at the back of the book that drives them back to your website to find out about the next book and the next book. And the reality, if you look at something like Harry Potter, how long did it take that first book to catch fire? A long time. But by the time you got to the 7th book, people were camped out waiting for that book to be released. And that's launch stacking with a novel. Okay. Courtney says, I think a seed launch is genius. It's the perfect way to get going, but I would feel uncomfortable asking people to pay for this. Would it be a terrible idea to offer it for free? So, great question. Good. Can we go back and, that's a great question from Courtney. So in general, it's a terrible idea to offer it for free because people will not value it. And at the end of the day, you need people to go through the training. You need them to attend the calls. I told you that story about my 11th call, no one's on it. That happens even when people pay. But they attend at least the first 5 or 6 calls, right? If people don't pay, they are not going to attend. And even if they attend, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to take action. And what you need is people that are taking your work and using the work and doing good things and having their lives change. And then you get to take that and learn from that and learn from them and also be able to share that as testimonies and case studies. So you absolutely, do what I did. I sold it. And then to make the class bigger, I invited people in for free. But this is the thing. Go back to the first part of your question, where you said you would feel bad about this. You feel bad. And my question is why would you feel uncomfortable asking people to pay for it? And usually, because I have done this quite a bit, and I've seen a lot of these questions before. People are like, it's just, I haven't created a thing. How can I get people to pay for it? This just seems like unethical or unfair or wrong. What's the deal? How can you actually get people to pay before you even created the product? Great question. And so I say, when I went to college, I had to pay tuition before the classes. Before the classes started, I had to pay the full tuition. And when I get a subscription to a newspaper, I pay for that subscription before the newspaper was created. And when I go to a play, I pay for the play before it's created. And when I go to a movie or concert, I pay before I get that experience. It's everywhere in the world. There's very, very few things where you pay after. Like a haircut, you pay after usually, right? A massage, you pay after. But most things you pay before you get the product. And many times you pay before it's created. That college class has not been created. They might have a curriculum, but they haven't actually taught it. The classes haven't been performed. And this is exactly analogous to that. It's exactly the same. You're going in and you know what the 5 calls are going to be. You know the topics. You've got the expertise. You've got the plan. You might not know exactly the words you're going to say, but you know what? Your college professor doesn't know either. So, yeah, get over it, charge for it, make some money. People get better results if they actually pay you. So, let's see. Radoslav says, I have 300 email lists of people reading Polish language and 10 emails of English speakers. Should I do a launch for the Polish for international market? I would, since your list is in Polish, I would do it in Polish. And we have had people, we get this kind of question a lot. A lot of people are like, I want to do it, I've got in my local language, but I'd also like to do English. And I generally say it's probably better to go in your local language first. I know one of our very, very first big success stories was someone who was doing, in Poland, doing business coaching in Polish. So absolutely works. We have people, just every language you can imagine, Italian, Portuguese, French, Norwegian, whatever. I usually like to focus first in your local market and go from here. And my team's giving me a note here that I don't really understand, so I don't know exactly what that means. So I'm going to ignore that one. Hey, Jeff, you flew through the seed launch segment today. Could you recap that again, please? This is from Jeff. And so actually, I did fly through it because we only have so much time. But I think if you go back and watch that replay, you'll see I actually spent a lot of time and I went really deep on it. And is there more depth? Yes, of course. It's like layers of an onion. There's further and further you can go. But I spent a lot of time on it. So after this is up, there will be a replay. And you can definitely check out the replay. So outside of the launches 3 or 4 times per year, do you not allow anyone to purchase your course when not doing a launch? This is from Karma. So it's an interesting question. So this is a business model question. A lot of different ways to go. Lots of different ways to go. So some people, like Michael Hyatt, I mentioned him in one of the videos I did on the concierge page on the Launch Masterclass. He used to do 4 launches a year for his membership site. Then he cut it down to, I think, 2. Now he does 1. So you can do it that way. Or there's also what's called the evergreen launch, the evergreen model. And that is when someone joins your list, shortly after they join your list, then they will go through a launch for themselves. So it becomes just a business model, how you want your business to run, how your products fit together. And there's there is no one answer for this. But there are plenty of businesses that do the 3 or 4 launches a year and do really, really well, because often it's like what Eric talked about with accounts. He's done 2 seed launches right now. The first one did 10,000. I don't know how much the second one did. I didn't ask him that. But those 2 seed launches led to $200,000 in sales so far this year. And he's got another launch coming up. And I guarantee that launch is going to be a lot bigger than the ones he's done. That's because he's got a follow-on product. So often you have a main product. In the launches, you're driving sales, you're making money. But what it's actually doing is it's generating your list of buyers. And that list of buyers, then you can sell another product and upsell to. Okay, so we're going to take one more question here. We're going to go one more question. And remember, there is still a super secret segment to be done. So Netta says, I want to teach and inspire people to reduce sugar and processed foods in their diet, but I'm not a health professional. I'm just a regular mom with a 3-year-old sugar-free life behind me. I'm also writing a book about my journey. I'm worried that the real experts, nutritionists, will hate me or worse, sue me. How can I teach safely? That's a good question. So basically not a health professional, but a regular mom, 3 years into a sugar-free life, and presumably this has changed your life quite a bit. Can we scroll so I just get the name again? So it's from Netta. So Netta basically wants to teach people to be sugar-free, which is awesome, fantastic. I'm a big fan of sugar-free. I don't always follow it, but a large part of my life I do follow it. I do like 6 days a week sugar-free, and one day where I go crazy on sugar. It's my cheat day. So it's an interesting question because, first of all, they're not going to sue you. Everyone who's working in health and nutrition, there's certain guidelines, at least in the United States, that you have to follow, published by the FDA. So there's certain things that everyone has to abide by. But outside of that, the people who are in that market are currently teaching, they're not going to sue you. It's just, these days, anyone can sue anyone for any reason is a common thing, but it's just not going to happen. First of all, there are so many people out there teaching this type of thing that it's just, you can't sue everyone, right? And there's no grounds to sue you. So let's just leave that aside. But the thing is you are here, the thing that you said, Greta, or Netta, is that you want to teach and inspire people. You want to teach and inspire. And I love that. That's amazing. And if you look at what Jeff Noble did, here's a dad who, he'll tell you, he didn't graduate from college. He has ADHD. Basically, his job was being a foster parent. But he had a passion to teach and inspire people. He had a passion to help parents. Because he was in it was a hard situation he was in. And he was able to get a lot of knowledge and learn that knowledge. And then that made his home life better. It made him a better dad. It helped his child. And he's like, someone needs to be teaching this. And if you go watch that case study, he went, the person he learned from said, I'm too old, I don't know how to do that. Someone else needs to do this. But there's all this knowledge. There's all kinds of professionals. Tons of data out there. Tons of trained, professional knowledge. But it was all hard to digest for a regular person. So he became the aggregator. He became the pathfinder through that knowledge jungle, through that data jungle, through that information jungle. He became the pathfinder. And he did exactly, he teaches, he inspires, and he just tries to make their lives a little better. It's a tough situation he's in. Far tougher than being sugar-free. It's a tough situation those people are in that have those children. But if he can make them smile or make them feel more reassured or give them the tools and tactics that make their home a more peaceful and happy home, it's a huge service. It's the same for you. There is a PLF owner that is actually he didn't start in this market. He started in a different market, and he moved into this market. We actually have a case study with him. But he was in a juggling market, teaching professional jugglers how to build their business. But he ended up going sugar-free just sort of on something he wanted to try. And he's built a business around this. He's built a business around teaching people to be sugar-free. It's a huge market. It's a market you can help a lot of people. And this isn't a market where, one of the things that you said was writing a book. And a lot of times, so this isn't a criticism, because a lot of times people, they get some knowledge, they have some wisdom, they're like, I'm going to write a book, it's going to be, I'll write a book. No, writing a book, at the end of the day, almost no one will buy it, fewer people will read it, and there's no money there. And if there's no money, if you go back to those 5 freedoms, let's flip on back, where's it at? How far back do you have to go? You might want to help. You might want to help and inspire people. That's your purpose. That you've changed your life through being sugar-free. That might be your purpose. But unless you have money, you can't go anywhere with that purpose. Unless it becomes a business and it drives money, you can't go anywhere. So this is for everyone out there. If you have something that you want to share with the world, if you want to just create a better world, if you want to help people, you have this purpose. You know what? Unless you build a business, you can't do it. Because if you put a book out there and a few people find it, great. But what if you put a course out there and the course costs money, like real money, like $100 or $200 or $300, or even $30? But it actually made money versus a book that sells for $14 and you make $1 off of that book. That's what it is if you get a publishing deal. You'll get $1 or $2 per book that you sell. Even if you sell 10,000 books, you make $10,000 or $15,000, and the odds are you probably won't sell 10,000 books. But if you actually have a course, if you have a course that people pay for, you can take that money and you could put it back into building your business. You could put it into advertising. And all of a sudden your purpose becomes a real thing. Does that make sense? I mean, it's great to have knowledge, to have wisdom, to be able to help people. But if you want to build a platform, if you want to be able to, and you have to build a platform. That's how you reach people. You can't just keep on scraping by and not making money if you have a message to get out there. You have to build a platform. You have to build an offer. You have to get that offer out there. The way to do it is with a launch. If you look around at all the top leaders and top experts, the top thought leaders, they're all using these launches. So I guarantee you, if you go and look at that market, I'll call it sugar-free, or call it diet, or call it weight loss, the people that are really doing it well, they're doing this product launch formula. They're putting together a structured sequence launch. They're getting their product out there, and they're making a real difference. That's what this is all about. That's why I'm here. That's why I've been going for 2 hours and 56 minutes. So after I wrap this up in just a minute, like I said, we have a super secret segment coming. And then we're going to, we'll get a replay up for you. And I got lesson number 3 coming up in just a few days. And it's going to be awesome. But right now, I would love if you could scroll down in the comments. Tell me which of those launches you're going to use. Are you going to use a seed launch? Are you going to use an internal launch? Which would be your first launch? Which fits your situation best? The seed launch, the internal launch, or possibly even the JV launch? Because I want you to really get that last question. If it's time to change your life, if it's time to get the income that you desire, if it's time to get the lifestyle you want, if it's time to make the impact that your work deserves, any one of those or all of those, then you need to launch. You can't just hope. You can't just write a book and hope someone finds you. You can't just put up a blog and hope someone finds it. You can't just create a podcast and hope someone finds it. You have to create an offer that generates money. Do a launch for that offer. Make money, and that allows you to build a platform. When you look out there at like thought leaders that have these huge followings, is it just because they had a few cool quotes they put on Instagram and people started following them? No. In almost every instance, what they did was they did a launch. That launch went into an offer. That gave them money to drive back into their business, and that's how they got 100,000 followers or 1 million followers, and that's how they built a real business. But you can't depend on hope. You can't depend on hope. You need a launch. So I'll see you in a few days in lesson number 3, and hang tight for a super secret segment. Super secret segment. Thanks for hanging around. Thanks for sticking with me. And if you're still here, then just say, I'm here in the comments. I'm here for super secret segment. Just so I can't see the comments in this set right now, so I'd love to hear from you. So this is just what I want to cover. So in the first super secret segment, I mentioned that I'm actually in a launch. I'm doing a launch right now for the Sideways. I'm doing a Sideways sales letter for my product launch formula coaching program. So this launch masterclass is effectively my Sideways sales letter. It's my pre-launch sequence, and it will lead into an open for the product launch formula coaching program. So if actually, I'm going to pop back over there to that so I can just walk you through. So it's interesting because I mentioned this in the first super secret segment, and then someone asked in the comments like, what was that super secret segment? And a bunch of people said, oh, it's amazing, it's awesome, it's fantastic. Just a couple minutes, you went through so much, it's fantastic. And someone just said, oh, he's on a launch. Like, wow, that's what you took away, really? Because the reason I tell you this isn't just so it's just like a random fact that I'm in a launch. The reason I tell you this is you can actually look at what I'm doing and see I'm following the formula and see how I'm following the formula. And I guarantee you, super astute students will they'll take pages of notes, which is exactly how I'm doing this because I know what I'm doing. So it isn't just that I'm doing it. You want to look at how I'm doing it. So I'm going to step back over here. So if you saw lesson number 1, I started off with this idea that you have to launch. So we do this problem solution path. We have a problem, then you solve it. You define a problem, you solve it, then you define another problem, then you solve it, then you find another problem, then you solve it. So right here, the first lesson was you need to launch. So the solution was the Sideways sales letter. I taught the Sideways sales letter. The next problem is there's 3 primary types of launches. So I defined that problem at the end of that workshop. Then I came up in here, I sort of redefined what that problem was at the beginning of this class of PLC2, and then I gave a solution. I taught the 3 different types of launches. I went fairly deep into those 3 different types. Now I will tell you, I screwed up today. This live broadcast that just ended. Actually, I didn't see the third broadcast very well. I just said, hey, I'll see it's going to be coming up. It's going to be cool. I should have said, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to walk you through the entire product launch blueprint. There's going to be an 18-page product launch blueprint. I'm going to walk you through that and give you all the details of launch. So that's what but the problem is before this next one, the problem is, okay, I taught you that you need to launch. I taught you how to launch. The problem is you need to launch. I taught you how to launch. The problem is you need to know which type of launch. I taught you how to pick which type of launch. Now the next problem is you need to see all the details and I'm going to give you a solution. Frankly, I just screwed that up. I just messed it up. There's a thing called the product launch parachute that I'll talk about in lesson number 3. The product launch parachute says you can screw stuff up in these launches and you're going to be fine. So I'm not, just when I step back over here, it's like, oh yeah, I actually forgot to do that problem part. I screwed that up. So, but am I worried? No, because of what we call the product launch parachute. Like I said, in lesson 3, I'll go deeper into that. But it's the idea that you can screw up a large percentage of your launch, but there's so many redundant features that you're going to be fine. So I screwed this one up. I didn't find the problem. So I'm going to have to work a little harder between now and this broadcast to define that problem, and then I'll get in and I'll solve that problem in the next one. So that's how this Sideways sales letter is working for me. Now, the other thing I just wanted to mention is that right now, there's a massive innovation in this launch because I'm doing a live launch. So I've never done this before. I've never done my pre-launch content as a live broadcast. And obviously, I started playing without a net. I can totally screw this up. I have a lot of confidence. I've taught this stuff a lot. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm used to being on stage in front of 1,000 people, so I don't have a net there. So I'm pretty confident I can pull this off, but it remains to be seen. We'll see when we get to the open card and actually start selling whether this actually converts. So I just point this out because I don't want you to think like, well, first of all, PLF doesn't ever stand still. There's this core idea, this core methodology of the Sideways sales letter, of the mental triggers, of the PS path that I taught all that in lesson 1. And that's not going to change because it's wired how the way our brains are wired. It works with the way human psychology works. However, it's changed. I used to do it purely via email in 2000 and whatever I started, 2000 or 1996. It's been a long broadcast. 1996 I started just email, and then eventually email and audio, and then it's email and video, and then it was blogs, and then now we're doing live. But it's not like you have to do. You can still do a launch just via email, and I have. In fact, just a couple weeks ago I did a launch that's purely email. So I'm doing it live. Doesn't mean you have to do it live. I'm actually obviously this will become part of Product Launch Formula. I'll actually be teaching it in the coaching program and teaching my lessons learned and what I messed up and what worked. So just remember, watch what I'm doing, not just what I'm teaching. So that's a super secret segment. Scroll down, let me know what you thought. Thanks for joining me, especially those of you who are really fighting time zone challenges or work challenges or taking care of kids challenges or taking care of parents challenges. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you for the Product Launch Blueprint, which is going to be awesome in just a few days.